लेकिन दिन रात काम करके सीपीडब्ल्यूडी के माध्यम से इस सभागार को इस स्थिति में लाने का कार्य जो आपने उस समय किया था, जिसका आनंद हम लोग अभी इस समय ले रहे हैं और लगातार लेते रहे हैं पिछले कई वर्षों से, विशेष रूप से आपका धन्यवाद सर हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। हमारे साथ अमेरिका से डॉक्टर एस ए पाटिल हमारे संस्थान के पूर्व निदेशक भी जुड़े हुए हैं। सर आपका भी हार्दिक अभिनंदन। आपको हम देख पा रहे हैं, यह समय आपके समय अनुसार थोड़ा सा आप बहुत अनुकूल नहीं होगा, रात का समय हो रहा है आपके यहाँ, लेकिन इसके बाद भी आप जुड़े हुए हैं। आपके सरल व्यक्तित्व के लिए, मधुर व्यक्तित्व के लिए और आपका जो मानवतापूर्ण अप्रोच था लोगों से डील करने में, उसके लिए आपको हमेशा संस्थान में याद किया जाता है। इसके साथ ही साथ कृषक सहभागिता बीज उत्पादन का कार्यक्रम जो है डॉक्टर पाटिल ने बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर शुरू किया था और आज से हमें बताते हुए आपको ये खुशी हो रही है कि संस्थान के द्वारा नई दिल्ली केंद्र के द्वारा प्रतिवर्ष करीब 7 करोड़ रुपए का बीज हम कृषक सहभागिता बीज उत्पादन कार्यक्रमों के तहत पैदा करके किसानों को गुणवत्ता वाला बीज उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। आपका बहुत बहुत आभार सर। और इसके साथ ही आपने जो कृषि विश्वविद्यालयों के साथ मिल करके भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थान की जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसको देश के कोने कोने में ले जाने का जो बीड़ा उठाया था, वह भी एक बहुत सराहनीय कार्य था, जिसको हम लोग आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं और उसमें नए नए आयाम और जुड़ रहे हैं। जैसे जब डॉक्टर महापात्रा आए थे तो उन्होंने नवोन्मेषी किसानों के सम्मेलन की एक परंपरा शुरू की थी, जो बहुत ही अच्छी परंपरा है और उससे बहुत सारा ज्ञान हम लोगों को हमेशा मिलता रहता है। डॉक्टर एच.एस. गुप्ता संस्थान के पूर्व निदेशक अभी हमारे साथ जुड़ नहीं पाए हैं, उनको कैब 2 में कुछ काम था और उन्होंने कहा था कि 11 बजे तक वो यहाँ पर आ पाएंगे। मैं डॉक्टर मंजिया से अनुरोध करता हूँ, अगर बाहर है डॉक्टर साहब आते हैं तो उनको सीधे मंच पर लेकर के आएंगे। और डॉक्टर गुप्ता को विशेष रूप से उनके एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म के लिए जाना जाता है, टफ डिसीजन, टफ स्टैंड लेने के लिए जाना जाता है। और संस्थान में जो मौलिक शोध संबंधी सुविधाएं थी उनके विकास में उन्होंने महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई और कुछ विभाग खासकर बायोकेमिस्ट्री डिवीजन, इसके अलावा सेस्क्रा तथा पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी डिवीजन में बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर शोध सुविधाओं का विकास उनके समय काल के दौरान किया गया। इसके साथ ही साथ निजी क्षेत्र के साथ मिलकर के भागीदारी का काम जो डॉक्टर पाटिल ने अपने समय में शुरू किया था, उसको भी उन्होंने बहुत जोर शोर से आगे बढ़ाया था। मैं डॉक्टर गुप्ता का भी एडवांस में यहाँ पर स्वागत करता हूँ, जब आएंगे तो उनका स्वागत दोबारा किया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे बीच में डॉक्टर के.वी. प्रभु, इस संस्थान के पूर्व संयुक्त निदेशक शोध और अध्यक्ष आनुवंशिकी विभाग, जो कि इस समय प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ प्लांट वैरायटीज एंड फार्मर्स राइट्स अथॉरिटी के चेयरपर्सन हैं, हमारे बीच हैं। मैं डॉक्टर साहब का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं, स्वागत करता हूं। डॉक्टर साहब के द्वारा जो पॉलिसी रिफॉर्म्स के संबंध में कदम उठाए गए थे अपने कार्यकाल के दौरान, चाहे वो गेहूं की किस्म HD 2967 को नोटिफिकेशन की बात हो, चाहे बासमती की परिभाषा को बदलने की बात हो, चाहे जियोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन बासमती को दिलवाने की बात हो, इन सारे मुद्दों पर और अब भी बहुत सारे मुद्दे हैं जिन पे उनकी सोच बिल्कुल ही सटीक और स्पष्ट होती है, जिसके चलते कृषि के क्षेत्र में बहुत नई क्रांति आई है। मैं डॉक्टर प्रभु का हार्दिक अभिवादन करता हूं और स्वागत करता हूं विशेष रूप से। हमारे बीच में डॉक्टर J.K. जैना, DDG फिशरीज आए हुए हैं, डॉक्टर साहब का भी हार्दिक अभिनंदन है। मैंने सभी लोगों से व्यक्तिगत रूप से बात किया था, कुछ विशेष कारणों की वजह से डॉक्टर अग्रवाल को बाहर जाना पड़ा। डॉक्टर A.K. सिंह ने बताया कि अभी सेक्रेटरी एग्रीकल्चर नए जो ज्वाइन किए हैं वो कोई मीटिंग ले रहे हैं, इस वजह से वो भी नहीं आ पाए हैं, लेकिन जब ही उनका वहाँ से फ्री होंगे तो आएंगे। डॉक्टर S.K. चौधरी भी कहीं बाहर गए हुए हैं, ट्रेवल कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने कहा था कि अगर हम जब ही लैंड करते हैं मैं आने का प्रयास करूंगा। इसके साथ ही साथ हमारे बीच में डॉक्टर D.K. यादव, सहायक महानिदेशक बीज, और हम में से एक उपस्थित हैं। डॉक्टर यादव का विशेष रूप से मैं स्वागत करता हूं, क्योंकि ये जो है ICR के और हमारे लिए धन कुबेर हैं। कल शाम को 6:30 बजे जब सब कुछ बंद हो गया था सब तरफ, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे पास 5 करोड़ 40 लाख रुपए है, आपको मैं दे रहा हूँ, इसको यूज करना तो डॉक्टर यादव, और निश्चित रूप से इसमें जो बरदस्त था वो डीजी साहब का था पीछे से, तो वो पैसा मिला हम लोगों को शाम को। और मैं विशेष रूप से अपने कंट्रोलर श्रीनिवासन जी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन और बधाई करता हूं, हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं, कि सुबह 4 बजे उन्होंने हमको मैसेज किया कि हम लोगों ने 100% कैपिटल का पैसा, 100% एलोकेशन सारा खत्म कर लिया है, 99.8% यूनिफाइड बजट का भी हमने खत्म कर दिया है और कुछ हमारे पास सब बचा नहीं है। तो ये पूरी रात इस काम में लगे रहे, तब जाकर के हम लोगों को ये सफलता मिली। इसके साथ ही साथ मैं स्वागत करता हूं मिसेज रेणु सिंह का। मिसेज महापात्रा को भी आना था, वो आ नहीं पाई, और इन दोनों लोगों ने मिलकर के जो पूसा इंस्टीट्यूट लेडीज एसोसिएशन है, पीला के माध्यम से सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमों की जो तैयारी की है, जितनी लगन के साथ मैं देख रहा हूं कि पिछले 1 महीने से प्रतिदिन कम से कम 8 घंटे लोग समय देते हैं, घर कभी रात के 9 बजे से पहले नहीं आते हैं। इतनी तल्लीनता के साथ सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमों की तैयारी करना, पूरी पीला टीम के सभी सदस्यों और इन 2 लोगों का विशेष रूप से मैं हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। और इस हाल में उपस्थित सभी लोगों से अनुरोध करता हूं कि शाम को 6 बजे, वैसे 5 बजे का समय दिया गया है, लेकिन 6 बजे से हम लोग कार्यक्रम शुरू करेंगे, उसके पहले तैयारी होगी। जितने लोग उपस्थित हैं भारी संख्या में आए और इन सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमों का, सांस्कृतिक संध्या का आनंद ले, ये हम लोगों को बहुत प्रसन्नता की बात होगी। हमारे बीच में श्री राजू बारवाले जी हैं, जो कि सीड इंडस्ट्री के डॉयन हैं, और पूसा का रिश्ता इस परिवार से बहुत पुराना है, उतना पुराना है जितना पूसा सावनी भिंडी की वैरायटी। वो समय था जब सीनियर बारवाले साहब ने उस किस्म को साइकिल के ऊपर रख करके उसका बीज बेचना शुरू किया था, और उसके बाद इन्होंने एक एम्पायर खड़ा किया। आज हम लोगों ने कुछ नई किस्म बासमती धान की विकसित की है, इनका विशेष रूप से उसमें लगाव था और वो चाहते थे कि हम इसका एमओयू करें। तो हमने उनसे अनुरोध किया कि आज के दिन से अच्छा कोई दूसरा दिन नहीं हो सकता है कार्य करने के लिए, और हमारे अनुरोध पे वो आए हुए हैं। इसी तरह से नूजूबीडू से प्रभाकर राव ने भी आने का वादा किया था, लेकिन उनके बिहाफ पे एसके त्रिपाठी आए हुए हैं, वो भी इस कार्यक्रम में भाग लेंगे। मैं इन लोगों का स्वागत करता हूं। इसके साथ ही साथ मैं डॉक्टर आरपी सिंह का अग्रिम पंक्ति में बैठे हुए पूर्व अध्यक्ष सस्य विज्ञान विभाग डॉक्टर रविंदर कौर, डॉक्टर मान सिंह, सभी विभागों के अध्यक्ष, संयुक्त निदेशक प्रशासन, और हमारे कुलीग डॉक्टर तोमर और डॉक्टर रश्मि जो मंच पर बैठे हुए हैं, जितने छात्र हैं हमारे बीच आए हुए, सभी वैज्ञानिक, तकनीकी वर्ग के कर्मचारी, सबका इस अवसर पर हार्दिक अभिवादन करता हूं। और इसके साथ ही साथ मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि हमारे बीच में पद्मश्री से सम्मानित किसान श्री शेषपाल सिंह जी, जो कि सहारनपुर से आए हुए हैं, इस बार से इकलौते पद्मश्री कृषि के क्षेत्र में किसान को जो मिला, इनको मिला है, और इनका विशेष योगदान रहा है। सिंघाड़े की खेती, सामान्य खेत में 1.5 फुट पानी की गहराई में सिंघाड़े की खेती आप किस प्रकार से कर सकते हैं, ये इनका इनोवेशन था। और इसमें उन्होंने काफी शोध किया है। और मैं इन सभी किसान भाइयों का, इनके साथ साथ जो अनुसूचित जात परियोजना के साथ किसान जुड़े हुए हैं वो भी आए हुए हैं, वो अपनी बात संक्षेप में रखेंगे। मैं सबका स्वागत करता हूं। और इन के साथ मैं सिर्फ 2 मिनट और लूंगा आप लोगों को संस्थान की जो प्रमुख उपलब्धियां रही हैं उनके बारे में बताने के लिए। इस वर्ष जैसा कि जानते हैं, कोविड पैंडेमिक के चलते हम लोगों ने अपने करीब 12 प्रियजनों को खो दिया, जो एक बहुत दुख का विषय है, और मैं भगवान से सभी दिवंगत आत्माओं की शांति के लिए प्रार्थना करता हूं। इन सारी विषम परिस्थितियों के बावजूद भी हम लोग संस्थान में सभी कार्यों को अच्छी तरह से सुचारू रूप से, डॉक्टर प्रभु कुछ कह रहे हैं, मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूं। अच्छा, डॉक्टर जेपी शर्मा भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, वाइस चांसलर जम्मू से। डॉक्टर शर्मा का विशेष स्वागत है। डॉक्टर साहब हार्दिक अभिनंदन। मैं स्क्रीन की तरफ नहीं देख रहा था, तो इसलिए आपको मैं मिस कर गया, और फिर स्क्रीन में सभी लोग एक साथ आ भी नहीं पाते हैं। हमारी तरफ से मैं क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़ने के लिए। तो इस कोविड पैंडेमिक के चलते तमाम व्यवधान आए, लेकिन इसके बाद भी संस्थान को सरदार पटेल आउटस्टैंडिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन अवार्ड ICR के द्वारा इस बार मिला और कुल मिलाकर के 35 फसलों की नई किस्मों का विकास किया गया, जिसमें से 12 किस्में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के द्वारा राष्ट्र को समर्पित की गई। उसमें से 2 हर्बिसाइड टॉलरेंट बासमती राइस वैरायटीज हैं, जिनके लिए निजी क्षेत्र के संस्थानों में बहुत ही लगाव है और बहुत सारे लोग हम लोगों से चर्चा कर रहे हैं कि कितना जल्दी हम लोग इसको कमर्शलाइज करें। इसी तरह से फल फूल और सब्जियों में करीब 40 से अधिक किस्में विकसित की गई और पूसा डिकम्पोजर जो एक फंगल कंसोर्शियम का विकास संस्थान के द्वारा किया गया है, उसको निजी क्षेत्र के साथ सहभागिता के साथ UPL के साथ मिलकर के हम लोगों ने बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर करीब 5 लाख एकड़ में इसका छिड़काव किया गया, जिसमें कि छिड़काव करने वाली मशीन और धान काटने वाली कंबाइन को जियो टैगिंग की गई थी। जहां जहां कंबाइन जाता था उसके पीछे पीछे स्प्रेयर जाता था और इन खेतों में बहुत ही आशातीत परिणाम आए हैं। इसको और बड़े पैमाने पर हम लोग लेकर के जाएंगे। इसके साथ ही साथ माइको की एक सिस्टर कंपनी है ग्रो इंडिगो, जो उषा जी देखती हैं, उनके साथ मिल करके हम लोग जो है कार्बन फार्मिंग, कार्बन क्रेडिट के बारे में एक समझौता किए हैं, जिसको भी मूर्त रूप देने में हम लोग लगे हुए हैं। ये एक नया आयाम होगा जिसमें कि किसानों को पराली न जला करके या दूसरे जो रिजनरेटिव एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं उनका प्रयोग करके कार्बन क्रेडिट के माध्यम से या और दूसरे प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो करके वो धन अर्जित भी कर सकते हैं, जहां एक तरफ उनके मृदा का सुधार होगा। साथ ही साथ हम लोगों ने कुछ निजी क्षेत्र की 2 संस्थाएं हैं, जिसमें एक एग्री जंक्शन और एक ई फार्म है, जो ऑनलाइन ट्रेडिंग फार्म है, जो कि किसानों को डोर टू डोर सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं बीज के लिए। तो उनके साथ भी हमने समझौता किया है। इसमें एक पंजाब, हरियाणा और पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश में ई फार्म काम करता है और जो पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश का क्षेत्र है वहां पर एग्री जंक्शन काम करता है। और इन लोगों ने बड़ा ही नया तरीका अपनाया है कि उस क्षेत्र के जितने किसान हैं, गांववासी हैं, जिनकी मोटरसाइकिल है, कार है, वो लोग शहर जब आते हैं तो सबको मैपिंग की गई है, जैसे ओला उबर करते हैं। तो किसी किसान का सीड अगर किसी गांव से आया हुआ है तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर से उनके माध्यम से शाम तक उनके दरवाजे पहुंचा दिया जाएगा। हमसे एडवांस में वो बुकिंग करते हैं हम जो है। और इसके अलावा उन्होंने सेंट्रल वेयर हाउसिंग कारपोरेशन का गोडाउन सारे स्टेट में हायर किया होगा, स्पेस लिए हुए हैं। तो हम अपना सीड प्रोडक्शन करके उनको पहुंचाएंगे और वहां से वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का काम करेंगे और उसी दाम पे करेंगे जिस दाम पे हम किसानों को बीज यहाँ पर देते थे, उसी दाम पे किसानों को बीज उनके घर बैठे मिलेगा और IARI का बीज मिलेगा। तो इससे बहुत बड़ा जो है एक क्रांति आएगी। अब इसमें हमारे सामने चैलेंज यही है कि बीज की आवश्यकता को पूरा करने के लिए बीज उत्पादन की क्षमता का विकास बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर हमें करना होगा। अभी हम कुल मिलाकर के 15-20 हजार क्विंटल बीज पैदा कर पाते हैं, इसको हमें 3 लाख 4 लाख क्विंटल ले जाना पड़ेगा, जैसा डॉक्टर पाटिल ने अपने संस्थान में किया है। उस दिशा में भी हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। इसके अलावा जीनोम एडिटिंग के क्षेत्र में संस्थान के द्वारा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कार्य किए गए हैं डॉक्टर विश्वनाथन के द्वारा। और अभी हमारे मुख्य अतिथि और सचिव डेयर DG ICR महोदय के माध्यम से जीनोम एडिटिंग की गाइडलाइन भारत सरकार के द्वारा स्वीकार कर ली गई है, जिसमें कि जीनोम एडिटिंग में SDN1, SDN2 2 टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा जो पौधे या प्रोडक्ट निकाले जाएंगे उनको ट्रांसजेनिक की श्रेणी में नहीं रखा जाएगा, उनको सामान्य किस्मों जैसा माना जाएगा। तो इससे एक बहुत बड़ी क्रांति आगे आने वाले दिनों में नई किस्मों के विकास में आएगी और इस कार्य में बहुत सारे लोगों ने महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। डॉक्टर प्रभु विशेष रूप से हमेशा नेपथ्य में रख करके काम करते हैं, लेकिन इनकी भूमिका बहुत ही सराहनीय रही है। डॉक्टर दीपक पेंचल, प्रोफेसर RB सिंह, डॉक्टर TR शर्मा, डॉक्टर यादव और बहुत सारे नाम है, सबका नाम मैं नहीं ले पाऊंगा, डॉक्टर स्वपन दत्ता। और एकेडमी की तरफ से बहुत बड़ा प्रयास किया गया, अलग अलग समय पर लगातार पिछले 1.5-2 वर्षों से यह कार्यक्रम चल रहा है, तब जाकर के यह सफलता मिल पाई है। मैं इसके लिए पुनः सभी लोगों को, इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़े हुए जितने लोग हैं उनको बधाई देता हूं और ये जो नए शोध के आयाम होंगे उनको जल्दी किसानों तक ले जाने में इससे हमको मदद मिलेगी। इसी तरह से NHEP परियोजना के तहत डिस्कवरी सेंटर का एक निर्माण किया गया है। एक छत के नीचे संस्थान के सभी वैज्ञानिक छात्र आकर के सारी सुविधाएं उपलब्ध हैं, जो कि मॉलिक्यूलर बायोलॉजी से रिलेटेड जो भी शोध का कार्य करना है वो कर सकते हैं। और इस सुविधा में भी NHEP के द्वारा जो फंडिंग हुई उसका बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। ICR का विशेष रूप से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। और अंत में नेटवर्क प्रोजेक्ट जो इसके ऊपर प्रिसीशन फार्मिंग के ऊपर बनी, एक बहुत बड़ी परियोजना है जिसमें फिशरीज, एनिमल साइंसेज और कृषि तीनों आयाम जो है शामिल हैं, और इसका भी नेतृत्व भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थान कर रहा है। इसके भी दूरगामी परिणाम आगे आने वाले दिनों में होंगे। और साथ ही साथ इन सबके साथ मिलकर के IARI को एक ग्लोबल विश्वविद्यालय बनाने के दिशा में हम लोग प्रयासरत हैं। मैं संस्थान के सभी वैज्ञानिकों, सहायक तकनीकी और प्रशासनिक वर्ग के सभी कर्मचारियों, छात्रों, किसानों का संस्थान के विकास में उनके महत्वपूर्ण योगदान के लिए हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं एवं उनका अभिनंदन करता हूं। आप सभी लोगों को एक बार पुनः बहुत बहुत स्वागत और धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, sir, for the welcome address and also briefing all of us about the Institute's achievement. IARI is India's premier institute, which has been a paragon of excellence in agricultural education, research and extension. The celebrations and observance of important days and events, regular visits to the research endeavors by various dignitaries, several national and global collaborations, and many other activities have helped IARI in developing its organizational and leadership skills. We have for you a short film on the Institute's achievement and new initiatives taken during the last 1 year. We will also wish to share with you a glimpse of foundation. Thank you all for your kind attention. आज हम सभी के लिए बड़े ही हर्ष और गौरव का विषय है कि हमारे बीच कुछ प्रगतिशील किसान उपस्थित हैं जिन्होंने भारतीय कृषि के विकास में उल्लेखनीय योगदान दिए हैं और जिनके अथक प्रयासों से देश की उन्नति को नए आयाम भी प्रदान किए। आज इस पावन अवसर पर हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं श्री सेठपाल सिंह जी। ये जिला सहारनपुर उत्तर प्रदेश से आते हैं। इन्होंने परंपरागत खेती से हटकर कुछ अलग सोचा और किया भी। कृषि में इनके सफल नवाचार के कारण वर्ष 2021 में इन्हें पद्मश्री से सम्मानित किया गया। पूसा संस्थान द्वारा नवोन्मेषी एवं अध्येता पुरस्कार के अतिरिक्त ये अन्य राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कारों से भी सम्मानित है, जिसमें ICAR का जगजीवन राम किसान इनोवेटिव अवार्ड 2014, आउटलुक पत्रिका अवार्ड 2018 एवं IVRI का स्पेशल अचीवमेंट अवार्ड 2015 भी शामिल है। कार्यक्रम में मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी श्री सेठपाल सिंह जी को, कृपया मंच पर पधारें और अपने अनुभव हमसे साझा करें।
आज भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थान के स्थापना दिवस पर श्रद्धा एवं सम्मान के योग्य सम्मानित मंच, परम आदरणीय पद्म विभूषण डॉक्टर R.B. सिंह जी, भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद के महानिदेशक, परम आदरणीय श्रद्धेय डॉक्टर T. महापात्रा जी, भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थान के डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर A.K. सिंह जी, डॉक्टर B.S. तोमर जी, डॉक्टर शर्मा जी, डॉक्टर रश्मि अग्रवाल जी, मेरे सामने बैठे समस्त पूसा के कृषि वैज्ञानिक एवं किसान साथियों एवं स्टूडेंट्स, सबसे पहले तो मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं अपने डायरेक्टर साहब को, जिन्होंने आज हमें इस स्थापना दिवस में बुला करके हमको गौरवान्वित महसूस हो रहा है। ये ऐसा बहुत सर, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। मैं थोड़ा सा बताना चाहता हूं, मैं एक साधारण किसान परिवार से बिलोंग करता हूं। मेरे परिवार में मेरे पिताजी, मेरे ताऊजी शुद्ध किसान थे और वो अनपढ़ थे। हम लोगों ने उन्होंने हमें शिक्षा पे बड़ा हमारा केंद्र किया। हम लोगों को गांव से शहर तक जाने का रास्ता नहीं था। उन्होंने हमको कैसे कैसे सहारनपुर तक पहुंचाया। हम लोग 6 भाई हैं और 6 भाई में से 2 भाई हम लोग खेती करते हैं। एक मैं हूं, एक मेरे से छोटा भाई है। 4 भाई हमारे सर्विस में है। 1995 में हमारा संपर्क एक किसान सहायक, हमारा कृषि विभाग का छोटा सा कर्मचारी जो हमारे न्याय पंचायत स्तर पर पोस्टेड है, वो हमारे संपर्क में आए, श्री इंद्रपाल सिंह तोमर जी, और उन्होंने हमसे कहा कि आप जो गन्ना गेहूं धान की जो एक खेती करते हैं, आप इसको कृषि विविधीकरण की तरफ ले जाइए, जिसमें सब्जी का समावेश भी हो, गन्ना भी हो, गन्ने के साथ सह फसली भी हो और तमाम तरह के उस चीज। तो हमने सबसे पहले अपने गांव में सड़क के किनारे 2 बीघे फ्रेंच बीन्स हम लोगों ने लगाई थी। हम लोग उसमें लोगों ने हमारा मजाक भी बनाना शुरू किया था। 1996 में हम लोगों ने धान के खेत में सीधी 0 टिलेज से हम लोगों ने गेहूं की बुआई की थी। तब लोगों ने हमारा बड़ा मजाक किया था। और जब उस खेत में पहला पानी दिया, खरपतवार की दवाई डाल ली, यूरिया की ड्रेसिंग हुई और दूसरा पानी देने के बाद जब ठूंठ गलने के बाद सबसे पहले 4.5 क्विंटल गेहूं रिकॉर्ड पैदावार उस टाइम हुई थी, जिसमें मुझे डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट साहब ने 6,000 रुपए का नगद किसान सम्मान देकर के मुझे सम्मानित किया गया था। उसके बाद हमारा एग्रीकल्चर विभाग से, उद्यान विभाग से, गन्ना विभाग से, मत्स्य विभाग से, गोष्ठियों के माध्यम से, ट्रेनिंग के माध्यम से, फिर मुझे किसान मित्र बनाया गया, उसमें ट्रेनिंग ली गई। और इसके पीछे जो सबसे बड़ा टेक्निकल जो ज्ञान का जो स्रोत रहा है हमारा कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र का रहा है। कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र की समस्त टीम हमारे गांव में, चाहे गोष्ठी के माध्यम से, चाहे फील्ड डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन के रूप में, और किसी भी समस्या को यदि कोई आती थी तो पूरी टीम हमारे बीच में, हमारे गांव में आकर के हमको प्रोत्साहित करती थी। उसी क्रम में हम लोगों ने बागवानी शुरू की। हमने फ्लोरिकल्चर में गेंदे की और दूसरे फूलों की खेती शुरू की। गन्ने के साथ में जो सितंबर सोइंग हम लोगों ने ट्रेंच से, हमारे उसमें भी हम लोगों का घर वालों के साथ विरोध करना पड़ता था और उन दूसरे किसान तो टोट कसते थे, लेकिन हमने उसमें दलहन का समावेश किया, तिलहन का समावेश किया, टमाटर भी हमने ट्रेंच में लगाया, आलू भी लगाया, मसूर भी लगाई, सरसों भी लगाई, लहसुन प्याज भी लगाई, और उसमें जितनी लागत हमारी उसमें आती है, और कभी भी हमारी गन्ने की ट्रेंच से पैदावार 100 क्विंटल से कम नहीं हुई। एक बार तो सर मेरी पैदावार 166 क्विंटल प्रति बीघा भी निकली है गन्ने की पैदावार। उसके बाद हम लोगों ने, चूंकि रोज रोज हम केवी के साइंटिस्ट के संपर्क में रहते थे, हम लोगों ने एक बार हम चले जा रहे थे, सड़क के किनारे तालाब था, दिमाग में आ गई खेत में सिंघाड़ा क्यों नहीं पैदा हो सकता। तो हमारे डॉक्टर पीके सिंह जी हमारे केवीके में साइंटिस्ट थे, हम उनके पास गए, उन्होंने सजेशन दिया। तो हम लोगों ने खेत में सिंघाड़ा, जैसे धान के खेत में पानी भर करके ट्रैक्टर से पडलिंग करने के बाद हमने उसमें रोपाई कर दी। वो सिंघाड़ा जो हमारा लगातार चल रहा है, और जून से लेकर के दिसंबर तक, क्योंकि दिसंबर में पाला पड़ जाता है, वो खत्म हो जाता है, इस अवधि में इतनी कोई भी फसल इतना मुनाफा नहीं देती जितना सिंघाड़ा देता है। उसके बाद हमने डॉक्टर तोमर साहब जी का जो हमारा फसल सब्जी का जो हमारा, चाहे करेले का है, लौकी का है, खीरा का है, ककड़ी का है, मचान पे हम लोगों ने अभी हमने नीचे खीरा लगा दिया और मचान के ऊपर करेला और लौकी लगा दी। नीचे जब तक हमारा करेला ऊपर आएगा तब तक खीरा खत्म हो जाएगा। जब जुलाई अगस्त में जब बरसात शुरू हो जाएगी तो करेले की पैदावार कम हो जाएगी, फिर हम उसे लौकी लगा देंगे, लौकी चल जाएगी। उसके बाद जैसे आगे आगे लोबिया लगा देंगे, सेम लगा देंगे। तो एक ऐसा सिस्टम हम लोगों ने तैयार किया है जिसमें पशुपालन भी है, गन्ना भी है, गेहूं भी है, धान भी है। हम लोगों ने मत्स्य पालन का एक फिश पॉन्ड भी बनाया मनरेगा से खुदवा करके, उसमें हमने राहु कतला नैन मत्स्य पालन किया। मीठे पानी में झींगा मछली की हमने ट्रेनिंग ली, लेकिन वो उसमें हम सफल नहीं हो पाए। और सर हम लोगों ने एक नई खेती भी करनी शुरू की है, कमल की खेती, जिसमें हम पहले साल में हमें नुकसान हुआ है उसमें, क्योंकि हमें उसके बारे में ज्ञान नहीं था, मार्केटिंग में समस्या आई, लेकिन उसमें पुष्प के रूप में, कमल गट्टे के रूप में और कमल ककड़ी के रूप में हमें काफी लाभ उसमें हुआ है। और सबसे ज्यादा हम लोगों ने जैव उर्वरक का प्रयोग किया है, फेरोमोन ट्रैप का इस्तेमाल किया है, ट्राइकोडर्मा बिवेरिया बेसियाना सुडोमोनास का इस्तेमाल किया है, ट्राइकोग्रामा कार्ड का इस्तेमाल किया है, फ्रूट फ्लाई के लिए मिथाइल यूजिनोल का इस्तेमाल किया है, जल संरक्षण में। और जितने हम लोगों ने सबसे बड़ी जो एक आप लोगों से जो सीखा है, हमारे खेत में जीवांश कार्बन की मात्रा जैसे बढ़ी है, हम लोगों का रासायनिक खाद के ऊपर, रासायनिक दवाइयों के ऊपर आश्रय कम हुआ है। क्योंकि जितना भी जीवांश कार्बन खेत में होगा उतना ही उसमें पोषक तत्वों की ज्यादा रहेगी, पीएच उसका नॉर्मल रहेगा, और जो हमारा जल धारण करने की क्षमता बढ़ेगी। तो इस तमाम कार्यक्रम को लेकर के मुझे, जैसा भी मैडम ने बताया, सबसे पहले हमारे डीजी साहब एस अयप्पन जी थे, उन्होंने मैसूर में एक प्रगतिशील किसान का 2010 में प्रोग्राम किया था। वहां मुझे भाग लेने का मौका मिला था। 2012 में मुझे अपने संस्थान से नोबल मेसी किसान अवार्ड मिला था। 2015 में जगजीवन राम अभिनव किसान पुरस्कार मिला था। 2020 में फेलो फार्मर की हमें उपाधि दी गई थी और 2021 में इसमें भारत सरकार ने माननीय महामहिम जी और भारत के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी उन्होंने हमें पद्मश्री से सम्मानित करने का काम किया है। मेरा अपने पूसा संस्थान से लगभग 22 साल से मैं जुड़ा हुआ हूं और कोई भी सर ऐसा मेला नहीं आता जिसमें मैं मेले में आकर के नई बीज की वैरायटी खरीद करके नहीं लेता। इस बार पहली बार ऐसा है, सर ने मुझे टेलीफोन किया, मैं आया और मुझे मंच में बैठा दिया गया। बीज नहीं ले जाता, लेकिन 5 बज के फिर बस चलने को तैयार होगी। दूसरे किसान आए हुए थे तो, लेकिन सर मैं अपने पूसा संस्थान का, अपने कृषि वैज्ञानिकों का, और सर अभी एक जो फोटो आ रही थी, भारत सरकार ने ड्रोन का इस्तेमाल कृषि में लागू किया। अभी इफको ने एफएमडी में गुड़गांव में 36 किसानों की एक ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग कराई है और उन 36 किसानों को भारत सरकार ने ग्रीन पायलट का दर्जा, तो सर मुझे वो ग्रीन पायलट बनने का भी मुझे सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ है। तो मेरा तो यही है, आप लोगों के द्वारा जो नई नई वैरायटी रिलीज की जाती है, जो नई नई टेक्नोलॉजी इस्तेमाल की जाती है, उससे अभी जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने महामहिम जी ने पुरस्कार देने के बाद जब प्रधानमंत्री जी मिलने के लिए आए तो हमने कहा सर हमने आपके विजन को आगे बढ़ाया है, आपका जो विजन है किसान की आमदनी 2 गुना करने का। तो सर मुझे जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा, मुझे आभास नहीं था, उस दिन से मैं अपने आप को बड़ा गौरवान्वित महसूस करता हूं। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा, अरे सेठपाल जी, हमारे बीच में हमारे परम आदरणीय श्रद्धेय डीडी जी साहब, जिनका विशेष सहयोग और विशेष आशीर्वाद सर हमारे घर तक भी गए हैं, खेत तक भी गए हैं, तो इसके लिए हम अपने आप को बहुत सौभाग्यशाली समझते हैं। तो सर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा, सेठपाल जी आप तो छोटे किसानों की चिंता करने वाले इंसान हैं सर, क्योंकि आपका जो मॉडल है डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का, तो वो छोटे किसानों के लिए बहुत ज्यादा लाभदायक है। और सर मैं आप लोगों से एक अनुरोध और कर सकता हूं, चूंकि हमारा जो इंस्टीट्यूट है वो दिल्ली में है और दिल्ली के चारों तरफ एनसीआर में किसान है और हमारा किसान दूध लेकर के दिल्ली में आता है। यदि हम उस किसान के साथ में एक चीज और जोड़ दें, वो अपने घर में अच्छी सब्जी पैदा करे, जैसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्राकृतिक खेती के ऊपर, जैविक खेती के ऊपर काम करने की बहुत बड़ी वो दिया है, वो किसान यदि दूध के साथ लेकर के सब्जी भी लेकर के आए तो जो उपभोक्ता है जो ताजा दूध और उत्तम क्वालिटी दूध पीता है तो वो शुद्ध और अच्छी सब्जी भी लेगा, तो इससे किसान की आमदनी 2 गुनी नहीं उससे ज्यादा भी बढ़ेगी। इसी क्रम में आप लोगों ने मुझे मौका दिया, पुनः आप लोगों को सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार, जय हिंद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सेठपाल जी, और निश्चित रूप से आपकी उपस्थिति से हम सभी गौरवान्वित हुए हैं। आपकी उद्बोधन से हमें फिर इस बात को जोर मिलता है कि किसान की उन्नति देश की प्रगति। बहुत धन्यवाद। परिषद के वित्तीय सहयोग से संस्थान द्वारा अनुसूचित जनजाति उप परियोजना यानी SC/ST क्रियान्वित की जा रही है। इस परियोजना के तहत गत वर्ष लगभग 17 करोड़ की धनराशि द्वारा 3 राज्यों के 19 जनपदों में करीब 20,000 किसानों को लाभ पहुंचाया गया है। इस परियोजना के अंतर्गत संस्थान द्वारा विकसित उन्नत प्रजातियों के बीज, क्रिटिकल इनपुट्स जैसे जैविक एवं अजैविक खाद, खेती उपयोगी छोटे उपकरण आदि आवंटित किए जाते हैं। इस परियोजना से लाभान्वित कुछ किसान मित्र आज हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं और उनमें से एक हैं श्री सतीश चंद्र जी। आप जिला गाजियाबाद के समयपुर कटियार गांव से आते हैं। आपसे अनुरोध करती हूं कि कृपया मंच पर पधारें, अपने उद्बोधन से हमें अनुग्रहित करें और संस्थान से आपकी और क्या अपेक्षाएं हैं उसके बारे में थोड़ा प्रकाश डालें। जी।
मैं सबसे पहले आज जो हमारे कृषि अनुसंधान का जो स्थापना दिवस है, सभी आए हुए स्थापना दिवस में उनका मैं किसानों की तरफ से आपका स्वागत करता हूं और मंच पर उपस्थित तमाम मंच, डॉक्टर साहब और मेरे किसान भाई, देखिए मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं, हम लोग तो पूसा कृषि अनुसंधान केंद्र से अभी लगभग 2.5 वर्ष हुआ हमें जुड़े हुए, पर जो सरकार द्वारा जो योजना SC/ST परियोजना पर जो आधारित चलाई जा रही है उससे हमें काफी लाभ हुआ है। हमारे यहाँ जैसे धान की उत्तम किस्में जो किसानों को लगाने के लिए फ्री दी जा रही है SC के लिए, उससे हमारे पूरे क्षेत्र में जो किसानों ने धान लगाया है, धान से काफी किसानों को लाभ पहुंचा है। उसी के साथ साथ जो यहाँ से उत्तम गेहूं की जो नई नई वैरायटी का जो सीड बीज देने का काम हुआ है, उससे भी जिस भी खेत में यहाँ का गेहूं का बीज जो पूसा द्वारा दिया गया है, जो लगा हुआ है, वो अलग से दिखाई देता है और काफी अच्छी पैदावार क्षेत्र में हो रही है। इसी के साथ साथ हमारे यहाँ जो SC किसान हैं उनके लिए यहाँ से समय समय पर दवाई देने का काम किया गया है कि जो भी कोई भी बीमारी अगर किसी फसल में है तो उसको सही समय पर दवाई दे करके उसको बचाया जाए। उसके लिए यहाँ से स्प्रे मशीन भी निःशुल्क दी गई है और बायो फर्टिलाइजर्स का भी हमें यहाँ से किसानों के वितरण किया गया है। और जैसे समय समय पर यह फावड़े हैं और खुरपे हैं, जो हमारे छोटे किसान हैं जो अपने से हाथों से काम करके इस फसल में ज्यादा पैदा करने का काम कर रहे हैं, तो मैं खास करके धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। और साथ ही साथ ये मैं अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि कल फिर जो हमारी फसल, जैसे अभी हमारे यहाँ गन्ने की खेती बहुत ज्यादा लोग करते हैं, उसके साथ धान की खेती करते हैं और गेहूं की खेती करते हैं। जो पूसा के प्रयास से हमारे जो किसान भाई हैं थोड़ा अब सब्जी की तरफ जाना शुरू कर दिए हैं उन्होंने, जैसे कि यहाँ से हमें सब्जी का बहुत अच्छा बीज हमें मिला है, जैसे लौकी है या दलहन में हमें अरहर है, मूंग है, मैसूर है, उसका बीज हमें जो मिला है। और जो क्षेत्र में किसानों ने लगाने का काम किया है, लगभग मैं और मेरे साथ जुड़े करीब 800 किसान हैं जो हम बहुत ही लगनशील तरीके से करने का काम कर रहे हैं। दूसरी बात ये मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि मुझे पूसा अनुसंधान केंद्र की तरफ से मेरे खेत में एक पॉली हाउस लगा है। उस पॉली हाउस में मैंने पहली बार टमाटर बोया था, ज्यादा बारिश होने के कारण वो टमाटर का मैं लाभ नहीं ले पाया। अभी मैंने पॉली हाउस में उसमें खीरा बो रखा है और जो खीरे की बेल ऊपर चली है उसके नीचे जो जगह बची है उसमें मैंने धनिया बो रखा है। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हम अगर कृषि के क्षेत्र में अगर अपनी गन्ने की फसल से हट करके, क्योंकि गन्ना अगर आज हम मिल पर डालते हैं तो 1 साल गन्ने को उगाने में लगता है और 1 साल उसका पैसा पाने में लगता है, तो हम 2 साल हमें लग जाते हैं उसका अगर गन्ने का पैसा। तो मैं यहाँ के तमाम हमारे जो वैज्ञानिक गण हैं और समय समय पर हमें यहाँ से नंबर दिए हुए हैं, अगर हम कोई पूछना चाहते, कल ही मैंने डॉक्टर यहाँ KP सिंह जी हैं उनसे पूछा, जो हमने खीरा लगा रखा है डॉक्टर साहब, तो खीरे पर एक लाल लाल से निशान पत्ते के आए हुए थे, तो मैंने वहां से फोटो खींच करके व्हाट्सएप किया और उन्होंने तुरंत ही उसी मिनट में मुझे जवाब देने का काम किया। उन्होंने बताया कि जो आपने इसमें अपना यूरिया का खाद लगाया है वो इस तरह नहीं लगाना था, इसके पत्ते पर चला गया है। तो मैं ज्यादा कुछ ना कहते हुए, जो हम 2-2.5 साल में यहाँ से जुड़े हैं, तो काफी लाभ हमारे क्षेत्र के किसानों को हो रहा है और कई प्रोग्राम यहाँ हुए हैं। एक प्रोग्राम में तोमर साहब भी गए थे, लगभग वहां 600-700 किसान आए थे और 600-700 किसानों ने नई नई जो तकनीक से खेती की जाए उसको डॉक्टर साहब को सुना। और हम कोई भी प्रोग्राम अगर इस बीच में हुआ है, अगर हम पे कोई भी किस तरह की सूचना ऐसे जाने का काम हुआ है, हम तत्काल आते हैं और हम ये चाहते हैं कि हम सब्जी की खेती करें और समय समय पर हमें सहयोग मिलता रहे। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सतीश जी, अपने अनुभव साझा करने के लिए। और सरकारी योजनाओं से जुड़कर ना आपने खुद लाभ लिया, बल्कि अपने साथ जुड़े अन्य किसानों को भी प्रगति का रास्ता दिखाया। एंड वी आर वेरी फॉर्चुनेट दैट वी हैव डॉक्टर एच.एस. गुप्ता सर, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर IRI, on this auspicious occasion. And before we move further, I request Dr. A.K. Singh sir to welcome Dr. H.S. Gupta sir with flowers and also to present a memento. Thank you very much, sir. And now we have another important program lined up. Under the Public-Private Partnership Initiative, IRI is going for the licensing of some newly released rice varieties. I request Dr. A.K. Singh, sir, Director IRI, to kindly apprise us about the characteristics of the varieties which we are licensing today, sir.
पिछले वर्ष 3 नई किस्में विकसित की गई हैं बासमती धान की, जिसमें जो हमारी पुरानी किस्में हैं पूसा बासमती 1509, पूसा बासमती 1121 और पूसा बासमती 1401, इन तीनों किस्मों का मिलाकर के कुल रकबा करीब 95% है बासमती में। और इनमें झोंका और झुलसा रोग, बैक्टीरियल ब्लाइट और ब्लास्ट की बीमारी बहुत ज़्यादा लगती थी। तो इन दोनों समस्याओं को दूर करते हुए पूसा बासमती 1509 का सुधार करके पूसा बासमती 1847, पूसा बासमती 1121 का सुधार करके पूसा बासमती 1885 और पूसा बासमती 1401 का सुधार करके पूसा बासमती 1886, ये 3 नई किस्में विकसित की गई हैं। और जैसा कि हम जानते हैं, पिछले कई सालों से यूरोप में खासकर एक्सपोर्ट में एक समस्या आ रही थी पेस्टिसाइड रेजिड्यू की, और हमारा निर्यात जो है 5 लाख टन से घट करके 2.5 लाख टन हो गया था। तो वो कमी को पूरा करने के लिए बहुत जरूरी था कि हमारी किस्मों के अंदर, और खासकर उसमें ट्राइसाइक्लाजोल एक फंजीसाइड का प्रयोग किया जाता था, और ब्लास्ट का रेसिस्टेंट होने के कारण और ब्लाइट का भी रेसिस्टेंस होने के कारण इसमें दवाओं की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। तो जहां एक तरफ खर्चा कम होगा, कम से कम 2000 रुपये 1 एकड़ इन दोनों दवाओं का खर्चा हो जाता था। दूसरा, जब दवा नहीं छिड़की जाएगी तो अवशेष नहीं होगा, अवशेष नहीं होगा तो रिजेक्शन नहीं होगा, रिजेक्शन नहीं होगा तो किसान को उसका अच्छा मूल्य मिलेगा। तो इसी बात को ध्यान में रखते हुए इन तीनों किस्मों का हम लोग लाइसेंसिंग आज कर रहे हैं। और बहुत खुशी की बात है कि सीड इंडस्ट्री के 2 दिग्गज कंपनीज, जिसमें कि राजू जी हैं माइको से और नूजीवीडू से प्रभाकर राव के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव त्रिपाठी जी हमारे बीच में हैं, इनसे हम शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। और भी बहुत सारी कंपनियों के आवेदन आए हैं, उसको हम आगे बढ़ कर जाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. And I now request our distinguished chief guest to kindly grant the licensing rights to the company. And I request Dr. Neeru Bhushan ma'am, in charge ZTM and BPD unit, to kindly come upon the stage for the ceremony. For licensing of Pusa Basmati 1692, Pusa Basmati 1718 and Pusa Basmati 1847, I invite Mr. S.K. Tripathi sir, representative from Nuzividu seats, on behalf of Mr. Prabhakar Rao, to kindly exchange the MOUs. Thank you very much. And for the licensing of rice varieties PB 1847, PB 1885, Pusa Basmati 1886, I invite and request Mr. Rajendra Barwale, Honorable Chairman and Managing Director, Maheko Private Limited, to exchange the MOUs, please. Thank you very much, and I request and invite Mr. Rajendra Barwale sir for his kind feedback. Sir, please. Your feedback, sir, please.
General, anything that you want to say and how we move further in new technology?
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबडी. मुझे कुछ बोलना है, पता नहीं था. दिस हैज कम एज अ सरप्राइज टू मी, बट आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये बहुत अच्छा कदम है जबकि IARI पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप में काफ़ी तरक्की कर रही है. हमेशा से अभी बहुत सारे डायरेक्टर्स IARI के यहाँ बैठे हैं जिनसे मैं टाइम से मिलते रहा. डॉक्टर RB सिंह है, डॉक्टर गुप्ता जी हैं और बाकी लोग भी, डॉक्टर शर्मा है, मैं उनको से चंडीगढ़ में मिला था. तो हर बार मैं सभी से यही कहता था कि भाई कोई चीज़ आप रिसर्च करते हैं तो उसको फ्री में नहीं बांटना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो भी चीज़ फ्री में दी जाती है, एनीथिंग विच इज़ गिवन फ्री हैज़ नो वैल्यू फॉर द रेसिपिएंट, और वो उसकी कदर नहीं करता है और इस वजह से उसकी तरक्की नहीं होती है, वो चीज़ की प्रोग्रेस नहीं होती है, उसमें क्या वैल्यू है ये पता नहीं चलती है. प्राइस फेयर होना चाहिए, पर साथ में जो रिसर्च करते हैं और नई चीज़ बनाते हैं तो उन्हें भी उसकी वैल्यू पता हो तो रिसर्च भी काफ़ी अच्छा आगे बढ़ सकता है. और एक दूसरा हमेशा से मेरा सबमिशन रहा है जब भी मैं मिला हूँ कि हम लोग रिसर्च ऐसा करें जिसकी ज़रूरत हो. अभी बहुत सारी चीज़ें नई नई बताई गई है, ड्रोन बताया गया है. अभी ड्रोन में सबसे बड़ी एक ज़रूरत जो हमें लगती है, अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि किसान को दवाई छिड़कने में सबसे ज़्यादा तकलीफ है, कोई उसे मजदूर नहीं मिलता है. आज महाराष्ट्र में गन्ना खड़ा है खेत में, काटने के लिए मजदूर नहीं है और ख़राब हो रही है फसल. तो वो ड्रोन का हम लोग यदि इस्तेमाल करें, सीड कंपनीज हैं या सर्विस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, और किसान को एक सर्विस प्रोवाइड करें कि भाई हम आके आपके खेत में ड्रोन के माध्यम से छिड़काव कर देंगे दवाई का, तो वो बहुत बड़ी फैसिलिटेशन हो सकती है. एंड हमारी कृषक को सुविधा, साथ में एग्रीकल्चर को भविष्य के लिए तैयार कर सकती है. और ऐसी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, यहाँ सब लोग बैठे हैं, आप लोग चर्चा करने वाले हैं, सुनने वाले हैं. मुझे बुलाया सर ने और बोलने का मौका दिया, इसलिए मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ. धन्यवाद.
Thank you very much, sir, for your golden words and sharing your feedback. And thank you for being with us this morning. So we also have some publications to be released. I request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly release them. The first publication to be released is a series from Poshan 3, entitled Pearl Millet Maize Oriented Substation for Healthy All-Inclusive Nutrition. For Poshan 4, it's Nutri-Greens for Health and Wellness. The second publication which we are releasing is Desert Locust. It's a technical bulletin, Desert Locust Life Cycle and Management Strategies. The same publication has been brought out in Hindi also. Registani Diddi, Jeevan Chakra Evam. The third publication is Improved Crop Varieties for Enhancing Farmers' Income, released during 2014 to 2022. Then we have Sabzi Fasal Calendar, Masik Karya. Another technical bulletin is also being released, that is on drying and dehydration on fruits and vegetables. The next publication is Poshan एवं आर्थिक सुरक्षा हेतु फसल एवं सब्जियों के मूल्य संवर्धन तकनीकें. Then another is technical bulletin on smart urban farming technologies, and the last publication which we are releasing today is नैनो प्रौद्योगिकी का कृषि क्षेत्र में महत्व. Thank you very much. Thank you all. And as a ritual on Foundation Day, we felicitate the best workers from IARI staff members, each in the category of technical, administrative and supporting on the basis of excellence of performance. The best worker awardees for the year 2022 will be felicitated with a memento, a shawl, a citation and a cash prize of rupees 5,100. I request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly present the awards. The awardees may kindly come up on the stage as their names are being announced. In the technical category, first I invite Shri Subhas Chandraji from a transport section. In the technical category only, I invite Shri Amar Chandji, Senior Technician from IARI Regional Station Katrayan. Shri Amar Chandraji, Senior Technical from IARI Regional Station Katrayan. In the administrative category, I invite Shri Amarnath Thakurji, AA from the Division of Seed Science and Technology. Shri Amarnath Thakurji, AA from the Division of Seed Science and Technology. The next awardee in administrative category is Shri B.S. Rawatji, PS from Publication Unit. Shri B.S. Rawatji, PS from Publication Unit. In the supporting staff category, I invite Shri Ambika Raiji from the Division of Vegetable Science. Shri Ambika Raiji from the Division of Vegetable Science in the supporting staff category. The next from the supporting staff category is Shri Idia Ji from IARI Regional Station Indore. Shri Idia Ji from IARI Regional Station Indore. Shri Idia Ji from IARI Regional Station Indore. And the last award in supporting staff category is Shri Jogendra Rai Ji from Director's Personal Section. Shri Jogendra Rai Ji. Shri Jogendra Rai Ji from Director's Personal Section. Thank you very much, sir. In almost a week's long celebration for the Foundation Day, we have organized various competitions for school children in Delhi and for IRI students as well. The theme of quiz was agriculture, current events and sports. The speech competition was conducted both in Hindi and English. The theme for speech competition for junior category, that is from class 5 to class 8, was environment and human health, and in Hindi as Paryavaran evam Manav Swasthya. For the senior category, that is from class 9 to class 12, the theme was role of millets in nutritional security, and in Hindi it was as Poshan Suraksha mein mote anajon ki bhumika. For painting competition, the topics were as environment and human health for the junior category and water conservation for senior category, which were given on spot. The purpose was obviously to create awareness among the young minds. All these competitions were organized physically at the NRL auditorium of the institute. A total of more than 140 children from 11 different schools of NCR participated in these events. The events were judged by the faculty of IRI, and a total of 33 students won prizes in different categories. 2 posters dedicated to events and award paintings have been also displayed as posters outside the auditorium. The program was coordinated by Dr. C. Bharadwaj, Dr. Atul Kumar Singh, Dr. Shruti Sethi and Mrs. Karuna Dikshit. I will be calling upon the names of the winners who are present. May kindly come upon the stage. In the quiz awardees from the senior group, the first prize goes to Mr. Aryan Singh from Bal Bharati Public School, studying in class 10th. The second prize goes to Harsh Singh from Ramjas Public School. He is not present probably. So I invite Dhruv 4 from Sarvodaya Bal Vidyalaya Pusa campus, who stood at rank 3. In the junior group, that is from class 5 to 8, first prize goes to Shaurya Agarwal from Faith Academy. The second prize goes to Aks Amol Solanki. The third prize goes to Divyanshi Bharadwaj, studying in class 8th of Silvan Public School. Shaurya Agarwal, Faith Academy, first rank in junior group. Second is Aks Amol Solanki from Tagore International School, who stood second, studying in class 8. Third prize goes to Miss Divyanshi Bharadwaj. Miss Divyanshi Bharadwaj? She's not present. From the speech awardees from junior group, first prize goes to Miss Sreshtha Ranjan, studying in class 8th from Bal Bharati Public School. Miss Sreshtha Ranjan. Miss Sreshtha Ranjan from class 8 studying in Bal Bharati Public School stood first in the junior group speech competition. Second prize goes to Miss Gayatri Tripathi. Second prize, Miss Gayatri Tripathi, studying in class 8th of Springdale School. Third prize goes to Miss Manasvi from St. Thomas School. Miss Manasvi from St. Thomas School. The consolation prize goes to Manan Kundu and Anusha. Manan Kundu from Springdale Schools and Anusha from AES Pushpa Vihar School. Both are studying in class 8th. They are sharing the consolation prize for speech awardees. Next, in the senior group, I am inviting Miss Tushita Kapoor from St. Thomas, studying in class 11th. She got first prize in the senior group for speech. Tushita Kapoor, St. Thomas School, studying in class 11, stood first for speech. For second prize, I invite Miss Sanya Arora from Ramjas Public School. Miss Sanya Arora from Ramjas Public School, studying in class 9th. Next, I will be calling upon Mr. Yash Anand from Ramjas Public School. Third prize in speech competition in the senior group goes to Mr. Yash Anand from Ramjas Public School. Next, I will be calling upon Nehal for the consolation prize. Miss Nehal from Ramjas Public School. From IARI students, I will invite first Miss Satakshi Mishra, PhD first. Miss Satakshi Mishra, pursuing PhD from IARI, got first prize in the IARI students category. Next is Mr. S. Syam. Third prize goes to Mr. Lokendra Singh. I invite him to the stage. And the consolation prize goes for Mariam Mukhtar. Kindly be ready. So for second prize, I invite Mr. S. Sham, MSc student, for the second prize in the speech competition. Mr. Lokendra Singh, third prize from in the IARI students category. The consolation prize goes to Mr. Mariam Mukhtar. Miss, I'm sorry. Stand correct. I invite Miss Mariam Mukhtar, PhD student, and she's got the consolation prize in the speech competition. In the drawing and painting category from the senior group, I first invite Muhammad Sahil. He got the first position. Muhammad Sahil, please come up on the stage. Studying in class 12th. For second prize, I invite Mr. Aditya Taryal from AES Pushpavihar School. Muhammad Sahil, studying in class 12th, got first prize. Second prize, Mr. Aditya Taryal. Aditya, if you are there, please come up on the stage. Otherwise, third prize goes to Mr. Aryan Singh from Bal Bhati Public School, studying in class 10th. The third prize is shared with him with Miss G. Sweta. She is studying in class 10th of AES Prasad Nagar. Miss G. Sweta from AES Prasad Nagar. And in the junior category, that is from G. Sweta. Miss G. Sweta from AES Prasad Nagar. And in the junior group, that is from class 5 to 8, I invite for the first prize Mr. Atharva Keshwani from Bal Bhati Public School, studying in class 8th. First prize, Mr. Atharva Keshwani from Bal Bhati Public School. The second prize goes to Mr. Saqib. Mr. Saqib, studying in class 8th. Mr. Saqib, class 8th. Second prize. And for third prize, I invite Ms. Sreshtha Ranjan. Ms. Sreshtha Ranjan receiving third prize in the drawing competition, studying in class 8th from Bal Bhati Public School. The third prize is sharing, Miss Rushita Kongrasi from AES School Pushpa Vihar. She is sharing the third prize along with Shrestha Ranjan. And the consolation prize goes to Miss Ashvi Bharadwaj, studying in class 5th from St. Thomas School. Thank you, sir. And this time we also have a special category as the little kids as recommended by the jury. So we have 5 awards in the category, and first I'll be calling upon Miss Arohi Thakur from class 1st, St. Thomas Senior Secondary School. Second, I'll be calling upon Mr. Vivan Agrawal. Mr. Vivan Agrawal, class 1st, Faith Academy. I now invite Miss Aura Amol Solanke, studying in class 1st from Tagore International School. I now invite Miss Akanksha Singh, class 3rd from St. Thomas Senior Secondary School. Thank you. And I now invite Miss Swara Ranjan from class 2nd St. Thomas Senior Secondary School. क्या करा? उससे उठा लिया उसने ट्रेन से. Thank you again and heartiest congratulations to all winners. इसी क्रम में मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ हमारे प्रगतिशील किसान मित्रों को और अनुरोध करती हूँ हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय से कि कृपया उन्हें एक अंग वस्त्र भेंट कर उनका आभार व्यक्त करें. सर्वप्रथम मैं आग्रह करती हूँ श्री सेठपाल सिंह जी से कि कृपया मंच पर पधारें. श्री सेठपाल सिंह जी. अब मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्री सतीश चंद्र जी से कि कृपया मंच पर पधारें. सतीश चंद्र जी. जी, श्री सतीश चंद्र जी कृपया मंच पर पधारें. इसके बाद मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्री मनोज दिवाकर जी. श्री मनोज दिवाकर जी कृपया मंच पर पधारें. मनोज दिवाकर जी शायद वो नहीं है, तो आगे मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्री हरेंद्र जी से. मनोज. श्री मनोज दिवाकर जी ये अलीगढ़ उत्तर प्रदेश से आते हैं. इस मंच पर अब आमंत्रित हैं श्री हरेंद्र जी, ये भी अलीगढ़ उत्तर प्रदेश से आते हैं. और आगे मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ श्री लातूर सिंह जी गौतम बुद्ध नगर उत्तर प्रदेश से. श्री लातूर सिंह जी यदि आप उपस्थित हैं तो मंच पर पधारें. श्री हरेंद्र जी अलीगढ़ उत्तर प्रदेश से. श्री लातूर सिंह जी गौतम बुद्ध नगर उत्तर प्रदेश. श्री लातूर सिंह जी गौतम बुद्ध नगर उत्तर प्रदेश से. और अंत में मैं आमंत्रित करती हूं श्री गजेंद्र जी बुलंदशहर उत्तर प्रदेश से. श्री गजेंद्र जी बुलंदशहर उत्तर प्रदेश से. बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि एक बार जोरदार तालियों के साथ हमारे किसान मित्रों का आभार प्रकट करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। काइंडली टेक योर सीट सर।
ऑनलाइन डॉक्टर पाटिल और डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह उनको पाटिल भी इंतजार करते हैं, अभी होगा ना।
Thank you all, and I now request Dr. T.R. Sharma sir, Honorable Deputy Director General Crop Science ICAR, and also the guest of honor of today's function, to kindly bless us with his remarks. So please.
नमस्कार। आज के स्थापना दिवस समारोह के मुख्य अतिथि डॉक्टर टी महापात्रा, सेक्रेटरी डेयर DG ICAR, आज के इस समारोह के अतिथिगण प्रोफेसर RB सिंह, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर IARI, आदरणीय प्रोफेसर HS गुप्ता, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर IARI, डॉक्टर AK सिंह, डायरेक्टर IARI, डॉक्टर KB प्रभु, चेयरमैन PPVFRA, my colleague from the council, Dr. JK Jaina, DDG Fisheries, Dr. AK Singh, DDG Extension, Dr. SK Malhotra, Director DKMA, my colleague from the council, Dr. DK Yadav, ADG Seed, distinguished participants from IARI, Dr. BS Tombar, Dr. रश्मि अग्रवाल तथा ऑनलाइन माध्यम से जुड़े हुए डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह, फॉर्मर DG ICAR, डॉक्टर SA पाटिल, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर IARI, डॉक्टर JP शर्मा, वाइस चांसलर जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी, तथा पद्मा अवार्डी फार्मर्स श्री सेठ पाल सिंह जी, डायरेक्टर्स ऑफ सिस्टर इंस्टीट्यूट्स, scientists from national and international organizations, head of the departments, staff, students, किसान भाइयों, प्रेस तथा मीडिया, आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण स्थापना दिवस समारोह के अवसर पर सबसे पहले मैं आप सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं, डॉक्टर AK सिंह को पर्टिकुलरली कि उन्होंने मुझे यहाँ आने का मौका दिया, और आप सबको इस शुभ अवसर पर बहुत बहुत बधाई। ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दिवस होता है जिस दिन एक संस्थान की महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धियां बताई जाती हैं कि पिछले साल में हमने क्या किया और क्या नहीं किया। और मुझे ये जानकर बहुत प्रसन्नता हुई कि संस्थान ने बहुत ही अभूतपूर्व उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं, जिसके साथ साथ उन्हें सरदार पटेल अवार्ड भी मिला है। उसके लिए मैं सबको बधाई देता हूं। कंग्रेचुलेशंस टू ऑल। किसी भी संस्थान को बनाने में उसके स्टाफ का बहुत बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योगदान रहता है, और IARI जो कि 100 साल से भी पुराना इंस्टीट्यूट है, उसके मुख्यतः 3 स्तंभ हैं: शिक्षा, शोध तथा विस्तार। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में IARI ने बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धियां हासिल की है। आप देश विदेश के किसी भी कोने में चले जाएं, आपको IARI का स्टूडेंट किसी न किसी रूप में कहीं न कहीं जरूर मिल जाएगा। और जब भी आप किसी इंटरव्यू में जाते हैं एज एन एक्सपर्ट, और वहाँ अगर IARI का स्टूडेंट कहीं एक कैंडिडेट आता है तो वो क्लियरली स्टैंड आउट कर जाता है, जिससे ये दर्शाता है कि इंस्टीट्यूट की प्रगति और स्टैंडिंग एजुकेशन में क्या है। लेकिन आज के दिन, टुडे इज़ द डे ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन, जिस दिन स्थापना दिवस का दिन जो है, उस दिन हम पिछले साल की उपलब्धियों का अवलोकन करते हैं, चिंतन करते हैं और इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करते हैं कि वेयर डू वी स्टैंड, वेयर डू वी स्टैंड एट ग्लोबल लेवल, वेयर डू वी स्टैंड एट नेशनल लेवल और वेयर डू वी स्टैंड एट रीजनल लेवल, and what are the benchmarks with which we are comparing ourselves with other organizations. That's very, very important to see. We should, being an organization like IARI, we are thinking to make IARI as a global university. So do we compare IARI with other global university like Cornell, Wageningen State Agriculture University, California University or Cambridge? That should be our benchmark, not any state agriculture university, because all state agriculture universities are basically emerged from IARI itself. And if you see various staff, head of the department, dean, director, even vice chancellors are students or alumni of IARI in working on those organizations. In case of education, we also see that what our students are doing, are they opting for research as a job or administration or administrative jobs or management jobs or becoming entrepreneurs? We should see how many incubators now we have or how many startups we are creating at the institute. And for doing that, we have to be innovative all the times, and we have to meet global standards or national standards. We have to see, are we producing job seekers or job creators? IARI is now at a level where we should produce our student in the form of job creators, not job seekers. Now, being IARI as an education institution, we would like to see from a distance what we are offering for our students. If we do not offer scholarship to the IARI, can you expect that all the toppers from throughout the country, they will come to IARI? If we do not offer scholarship to the IARI student, do you think that can we retain them here? That should be our criteria. I think without fellowship, students should be attracted towards IARI, and we should provide them an excellent environment for teaching and education, etc. The second pillar of our strength of IARI is research. We have released large number of varieties. I would like to congratulate the director and his team for every year coming to bringing out varieties which are being released at national levels. That's the major strength of IARI. And I always say that is the strength of, because of our predecessors, those who have laid the foundation, and the materials which they have started developing in case of wheat, rice and maize 100 years back. And I would like to compliment all the scientists sitting here and my colleagues, those who have served at these institutions, that they could maintain all that material, biological material, throughout these 100 years of institute's journey, so that we are able to produce world-class varieties. But the institutes is also, the significance of institute is also measured from its high-class publications. I would expect that at least there should be 2 publications from each scientist, and we have more than 450 scientists working at under one roof. Therefore, you are expecting more than 900 to 1,000 publications in a year. That's 2 high-class publications. And for the production of high standard publications, we need to strengthen our basic research, and for that IARI was basically known. And if you see the history of IARI or earlier publications of IARI, you can find many publications in the journals like Nature. But why we are unable to produce those papers now? That's the area of introspection we should do. I would say that we need to strengthen our areas in basic sciences, particularly in Drosophila genetics, which we still have one lab, maybe with one scientist. We have to strengthen microbial genetics. We have to strengthen Arabidopsis genetics. We have to create labs for nanobiosciences, structural, functional and comparative genomics, secondary agriculture, and crop production labs dealing with IoT, artificial intelligence or big data analytics. I am happy to see that we have developed a discovery center here at NRL building, and that is doing exceptionally good, and the outcome of that particular discovery center is in the form of genome edited varieties which Dr. Vishwanathan and his group is producing. And see, the single change of one nucleotide is creating large variation up to the extent of 100% or more than 150% more yield in a particular line. And I am happy to share that, as also mention was made, that day before yesterday there was a notification from Government of India to consider SD1 and SDN2 plants free from any regulations. And in that particular area, I would like to congratulate here our DG Dr. Mahapatra and Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. Prabhu, and all other colleagues, those who are dealing with in the back end, going to doing a lot of hard work in presenting in the various platforms to make this particular day happen. And now we have an opportunity to deal with genome edited crops wherein unlimited opportunities are available with us. In case of crop protection, I would say that modeling and prediction models, which was considered as one of the core area of research at IARI, has to now again come back in the mainstream. And we have to deal with a system approach to conservation agriculture, system approach in dealing with different types of material and different types of organism. The third pillar which we see here is of extension and outreach, and I am really happy to note that we have very, very strong extension program. That's the reason that our farmer colleague from different parts of the country, they come during Kisan Mela and take different varieties and different products of IARI. But still there are scopes of its improvement. We have to use more IT enabled services in extension services. How we can develop community level programs. What is the role of mass communication in strategy building? And we should have a very strong feedback mechanism from the farmers to the researchers. Based on that, we should develop our own program. So therefore, all these three pillars need to be strengthened, and I'm sure that today if we take pledge that we have to compete with the international organization globally, I don't think there is any reason we can lag behind. And for making an institutions very successful, the role of scientists, students, technicals and administrative staff is very, very important. And I'm sure that if they all feel they all own this organization as their own organization, then there is nobody can stop us moving ahead at a global level. While looking at IARI's achievement, I was also trying to see globally what other universities are doing. If you see the simple website of Cambridge University, and there is a simple, very interesting tagline which is written there, and tagline is ideas and inspiration. That's it. You open first page, it's written there. So what is our tagline of IARI? Where do we want to move? Similarly, when I looked at the Cornell University, in bold letter it is written by the word of Ezri Cornell 1868. It's written that, I would like to quote, "I would found an institution where any person can find instructions in any study," unquote. So those are the organizations we should try to compare ourselves, because we are also more than 100 years old, and the achievements which we have today will be many-fold in future if we try to emulate good institutions in our day-to-day needs and day-to-day organization. Lastly, I would like to say that any organization can be built on its happiness index. What is the happiness index of IARI, of an individual here? Are we all satisfied? Are we all happy? I think that's very, very important for the growth of an organization. And a study can be made to understand the happiness index of IARI. And I'm sure, because I have worked here 20 years and I was the most happy person here at IARI. I'm sure like me, many people would be here, those are happy. But nobody has tried to made out to see where do we stand in totality. And I'm sure that Dr. A.K. Singh, under his dynamic leadership, the institute will progress in future, and we will see many more foundation days with many more achievements in future too. So with these words, I would like to again thank Dr. A.K. Singh and his team for inviting me here to be part of this very important celebration of the organization. Even if you don't invite, even then I will come, because it's my own organization. It's an organization which has given everything to me. I remember the day I joined, Dr. R.B. Singh was the director here in 1999, and I have very close interaction with Dr. K.V. Prabhu, I would like to say, because I was the maximum user of Phytotron and is still working. And the positivity which he has shown in extending all the facilities. He was in charge of Sindhu Guest House and also at that time in 99-2000. And I really remember those days, and I always feel proud that I'm associated with IARI and I'm alumnus of IARI in that sense. So thank you very much inviting me. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind remarks. And we always look upon you for your valuable guidance and all the support. Thank you, sir. So memories are timeless treasures, and you all will agree that our life revolves around sharing memories and experiences. And with this sharing comes from, and when this sharing comes from our legends as our former directors like Dr. H.S. Gupta sir, Dr. S.A. Patil sir and Dr. Punjab Singh sir, that actually completes the Foundation Day celebration. So at first I would very humbly request Dr. H.S. Gupta sir to kindly share reminiscences about his time at IARI. Sir.
Thanks very much. Honorable Chair of today's function, Padma Bhushan Professor R.B. Singh ji, Chief Guest of this function, Honorable Director General and Secretary DARE, ICAR, also a former Director of IARI, Dr. T. Mahapatra, Guest of Honor, Dr. Sharma, Dr. A.K. Singh, Joint Directors on both the sides, Dr. Tomar and Dr. Agarwal, former directors who are online, Professor Punjab Singh and Dr. Patil, Deputy Director General Fisheries, Dr. Jena, DDG Agricultural Extension, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. Prabhu, Chair PPV FR, Dr. Malhotra, Director DKMA, guest farmers, representatives from the industry, awardee staff members. I can see Mrs. Singh, the first lady of the institute, faculty members, heads of divisions, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to leave anyone to address. At the outset, I wish you a very happy Foundation Day, and would also like to congratulate you for winning several laurels during this 2-year period where we were not able to meet physically. So my greetings to all of you for having done an outstanding work in not only feeding the country but also enabling country to earn a substantial amount of foreign exchange. Well, as Dr. Sharma said, Foundation Day is an occasion, of course, to rejoice and celebrate, but it is also to look back and introspect ourselves as to what we had planned, what we had achieved, and what we would like to do for the next year. What changes you would like to make so that you can accelerate the pace of development. Well, friends, we are a research organization, but today research is for development, R for D. We don't call R&D, but we call R for D, research for development, and it's more true with agricultural research because your output, your results are directly implemented in the farmer's field and the country directly benefits. Let me take a minute to give an example of importance of your work. Imagine in these 2 years of pandemic followed by Ukraine crisis, if we were not self-sufficient or surplus in food grains, what would have happened? You just can imagine, what would have happened. We can't import today, and prices are rocketing and skyrocketing, and you find that Ukraine and Russia together, they had a share of 30% of their world trade of wheat. And today, both the countries are not able to export. So, your role, food's role, food and agriculture's role is of paramount importance. You can have a lot of foreign currency, lot of this one, but we can't eat gold and foreign currencies. We need to eat food. And we all can take pride. Dr. Sharma was telling whether we really derive satisfaction from our work or not. We must be proud of our work because we provide food through our through practitioners of our profession, that is farmers. We develop technology, give it to the farmers, they produce, and then that's why we are here today. Well, friends, I'll try to cut short, I will not be long. You are expected to do a world-class research. But I would like to point out here that world-class research needs world-class facility, world-class manpower, and not only scientific manpower, but technical supporting. Everyone is important. Technical supporting staff who is working in the field is equally important. And I am glad. My compliments to Dr. A.K. Singh for having taken this initiative of recognizing the best workers from the technical staffs, from supporting staff, because presently we have in ICR system adequate opportunity to recognize the scientist. But there was no such opportunity to recognize the other staff, technical staff and supporting staff. So my compliments to you, Ashok, for having taken this initiative. Well, farmers are our clients, are user of our technology, so we must see that their interest is taken care of, and you may call me selfish, but then I am glad to see that Dr. A.K. Singh's tenure, the importance of farmers have been restored, because I was pleased to see that farmers in the farmers fair. Otherwise, there used to be a big exhibition, lot of people, VIPs, pandals, and farmers were not really, used to get their due. So, my compliments to you again for having restored that. Friends, I'll briefly talk about research and education. Regulatory authority have relaxed on SDN1 and SDN2 gene edited crops. You all know that we have missed a great deal in terms of not commercializing GM crops except cotton. Although we have seen the benefit of cotton, what an impressive gain the country has made from being an importer of cotton to becoming an exporter of cotton, having so much of benefit, still we were not decisive to recognize it and allow other GM crops to reach to the farmers. So I think the country has been a very big loser in that. Anyway, good sense has prevailed, and government has, regulatory authority have said that SDN1 and SDN2 will be free from any regulation. That gives you an opportunity to exploit this technology. And I would only tell you that what is important, is to be together. If you see the multinationals, they have such a big group that they come out with the result, and they work for 24 hours. A 6 hour, if it is a 6 hour shift, 6 hours, otherwise 8 hour shift, one group works, second group comes, and third group comes later. So I think we will have to see, we will have to work hard, rather extra hard, to attain what we had missed in terms of GM crops. And I'm glad that Dr. Mahapatra has been very supportive of this this effort, this initiative, which is being funded in a big way through National Agricultural National Agricultural Science Foundation, through Agricultural Science Foundation. And I appeal to Dr. Mahapatra to really see that we have no shortage of funding in taking this technology to the end user. Friends, Dr. Sharma has already spoken. I would not like to repeat. World-class education. You are world-class, but then you need to be really in top ranking, like what he mentioned about Cornell. You see, with IARI, IISc became deemed university, but where is Indian Institute of Science and where is IARI? Within the country also, if you see, they have made progress leaps and bounds. So let us try to analyze that what has been the reason why the IISc has gone ahead and why we have been left behind. I am sure you will be able to do that and take corrective measures. Well, for this, one important thing which I always say is efficiency. Efficiency at every level, individual level, team level, division level, institute level, everywhere. I mean, we need to examine, to introspect whether I am doing better than the last year, whether I am doing better than last month, whether I am doing better than last week, and whether I am doing better than yesterday. So that is the measure of efficiency. If you do that, I think you will shine. Remember, everyone remembers first. People forget about second, third. So be in the top, of course, in the country, but try to enter in the league of top educational institutions in the country, and it is not very difficult. Let me give an example. South Korea decided that their institution should become world class, and they gave academic freedom, they gave public funding and all that, recruitment of this one, transfer, and empowered the vice chancellors. Their universities have become world class now. So it's a 10-year period. If 10-year period they can do, why can't we do? See, it's doable. Today, fortunately, Dr. Mahapatra is there, so I would like to mention all these things so that he keeps in his mind and sees to it that there is no shortage of funding. Of course, he has been very generous, but I think we need to do. And friends, I would also see that the country's allocation in agriculture R&D is going down, is 0.6% of the agricultural GDP, which should be at least 1%. We should keep on fighting. I hope Professor R.B. Singh, you will, wherever possible, he will be able to persuade people to do that. I would like to point out two small issues which, today in agricultural production, climate change has become a very big constraint, especially in the tropical countries. And India is supposed to lose 25% or so after production or productivity by 2050. So how do we do that? How do we solve? We are all attempting. But I'm sorry to say here that 5 or 6 years back we established a center called SESCRA. And Mr. Director General, till today it doesn't have a regular head. That's very, see, SESCRA was Center for Environment Science and Climate Resilient Agriculture. It was inaugurated, it was all done, we got all facilities, but somehow it doesn't have a dynamic head. And unless you have a dynamic leader, you cannot take forward, be it an institution, be it a division, whatever it is. So I would appeal to Dr. Mahapatra to kindly look into it. Another one is in my mind is today we don't talk of only agriculture. We talk of food and agriculture, agri-food. And we all know that almost 20 to 30% of our agricultural produce, it gets lost. So post-harvest management, food processing, value addition is extremely important. And seeing this, I think again we had established a food science and post-harvest technology. We used to have a post-harvest technology division of PhD, where only horticulture was being dealt. So I brought it together, food science and PhD, so that really we can excel in that. We had a background of agricultural production, all research, and then if we can combine with food and processing and value addition, we would have made a really tremendous development. I would also give a small example. I think Dr. A.K. Singh is this time he attended a meeting of the board of NIFTEM, National Institute of Food Technology Management. I am on the board for last 10 years or so, 10 or 12 years. I have seen that institute growing from, almost, it was used to be rice processing center. Then it became Agri-Food Institute. Now it has become NIFTEM, an institute of national importance. And it has grown leaps and bounds. When we established food science and PhD, I can tell you our facility of IARI's facility were better than them. And today, their facilities are nowhere as compared to what we have. So friends, I think instead of living on past laurels, I think we should try to compete and move forward. And I'm sure we are very fortunate to have a Director General, a Secretary, who has been a director here. This is very unique that he knows everything and he is prepared to help. So please try to see that the inherent potential you have, that should be harnessed. Friends, coming to an end, I would also like to remind the income of the farmers. You know, we have taught farmers to cultivate good varieties, to make country self-sufficient, to produce good food and all that. But today what we need to teach farmers is how to add value and earn more. So earning more has become important. So high value crops, and that is why I again would like to remind you that keeping this in my mind, a school of horticulture was created. And again, if that is pursued in a big way, because you are in Delhi, I am glad that a new initiative have been taken for a training rooftop, gardening and all that. But horticulture, school of horticulture, needs really strengthening in a big way. Friends, as far as my reminiscences, I had a great time. I think every agricultural scientist aspires to be at IARI. And I'm glad at the fag end of my career, having worked in the very difficult areas of Northeast and hills, finally I came to IARI. So my dream was fulfilled. Although I had several other offers of DDGs and chair SRB and all that, but then I preferred to be here. And once I accepted the job, I thought I will be there. So I'll appeal to you that all of you take pride in your profession, try to serve the institute and forget about other things. Other things will automatically come to you. Okay? Now finally, I would like to compliment and congratulate all of you, including director, joint director, faculty members, professors, technical staff, supporting staff, for having, for outstanding work you have done, and not only in feeding the country during this pandemic, but a substantial export earning, which Dr. A.K. Singh is an example of that. Is when we say 95% of the basmati varieties have origin of this institute, when we say that I guess 40% or 50% of wheat varieties are from this institute, acreage of 30 million hectare, 15 million hectare is of this institute. That's the laurel we have achieved, and that is because the dedicated people who have been, who have served. So it is you, the challenge is before you, how dedicated you are so that you excel all of us and do still better. So with these few things, I would like to compliment again all of you for having done an outstanding job and wishing you best of luck in times to come. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, sir, for creating an archive of stories and memories. It will certainly make us celebrate our legacy, and we all take your words to work hard and keep moving. Thank you very much, sir. And I now take the opportunity to request Dr. S.A. Patil, sir, for verbally conveying his reminiscences at IARI. Sir, please. Kindly unmute Dr. S.A. Patil, sir.
Thanks. I'm sorry I have to leave because there is an important meeting.
Dr. Roy, can you check if Dr. Patil is online? He was seen all the time. Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
हेलो
हाँ सर, सुनाई दे रही है आवाज आपकी. प्लीज गो अहेड.
सुनाई जा रही है?
हाँ सर, सुनाई दे रहा है.
Scholars were joined for our Dr. Mohammad Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. P.R. Sharma, Dr. Punjab Singh, Dr. H.S. and all others who were joined, all IARI joint directors, Dean and all division heads, Dr. Prabhu. I am very happy that I am able to join although I am in US to be with my son. So it is very, I just heard the reminiscences of Dr. H.S. Gupta and I know that IARI, we took it as a family and we developed this institute in the service of farmer. That was my main aim and we were able to be successful. After the Green Revolution during the Swaminathan period, second revolution of Basmati happened in my period. So similarly, a lot of problems development in it, all whatever things we could do for the benefit of farmers. I think there has to be an export-oriented. We want to increase the farmers' income. So for that, seed production technology that we can capture. This has to be taken on a large scale. Then breeding, of course, we are equally strong. Can be at IARI to promote agriculture or pursuing what been doing well, and I hope that a unique institution as everybody imagine now through their remarks. I hope that you will be able to achieve the dynamic leadership. I cannot forget Dr. Prabhu during my period. So with all this, I congratulate all IARI team of science. who are responsible to achieve this excellent progress in future also. Whether it achieves global status or not immediately, but from farmers' point of view, whatever is required, it has been doing. So great success, congratulations to all, and I wish DG will support all ideas. And personally, I have been not able to come there since last 2.5 years because of pandemic. So immediately, I think after coming from this, we will meet together, and I have a lot of things to support, present to DG through QRT seed, where a lot of ideas were put how India can take advantage of the seed.
And they will certainly leave everlasting imprints on our minds. Thank you very much, and I now very humbly request and invite Dr. Punjab Singh sir for sharing your timeless memories at IRI and possibly guide us to build IRI of your dreams. Sir, please.
Distinguished colleagues and friends, students, ladies and gentlemen. Let me at the outset congratulate all of you who had been part of the system earlier and who are part of the system now on this very auspicious occasion when we recall and recount what we did, what we have to do, and where we go forward. So IRI as such, as we always say, is a very unique institution. And we feel proud, therefore, as a student, as faculty, or some of us who have been on the governance, to be part of the system because it's contributed very tremendously for the growth of agriculture in the system. I had the opportunity to see IRI as Joint Director, then as Director, and then also as Director General of ICARS and dual perspective as Joint Director. Joint Director had been quite smooth. I had a wonderful boss like Professor R.B. Singh. So I think we had been able to take care of many things we wanted to take. And we realized that given the proper leadership, IRI can perform. And it can always count on about 2/3 of the people to work. And then 1/3 can be taken care by them. And realize that its infrastructure development in created demand for that it has, the engine that has, gives ample opportunity for people to work in the area that you want to start. I hope I'm audible, no?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So IRI, as we have been always saying, had been a pace setter, not only creating setting guidelines, whether it's a land program or nanotechnology or even gene editing, we had been always pioneer. So it has given, as a matter of fact, birth to many concepts, an idea which country has borrowed from IRI. And that is why we say that IRI is an EU institution. And that is where we say that this is different than all other institutions in the country who are doing research and development. Now, of course, we need to say again and remind that we need to much more than what we are doing in area of research, in area of education, and area of extension. And other thing which we realize, at a period that IRI is unique because as far as being located in Delhi, it has a lot of advantages, it has a lot of disadvantages because you have to interact with all sorts of people who are dealing with the research in or outside, politicians, development people, and also policy makers because the system calls for those people to come to the system and discuss and interact with the people who are really located in IRI. So therefore, you have to be well prepared and be ready to fare all that we have, in the areas that we have. And therefore, in creating all that, one is always ready, not only to be updated with such, but also improve and do that. During my period, if I recall the reminiscences, you will say, I enjoyed living in B5, I enjoyed living in B7, I enjoyed living in B8. Then I moved to A in DG's house. So I had the wonderful opportunity to have a wonderful life in the campus. We started a very vibrant tennis club, ladies club, and our club, which used to really have, as I always used to say, keep driving and drinking separate, but enjoy the both. And that was the kind of feeling we tried to create in the system. And I think that was one of the things which we think that we can really serve in the system that you have. And when you really come back when you serve the state agriculture universities, directors of different institutions come to at IARI center, you really try to create a very different ambience that you have. And the process while I was working, I mean, those who had been associated with felt, that at times you have to be very, very strict and very hard, unpleasant. I remember a few incidences like, entry to IARI as a thoroughfare. It was very difficult to stop it. I don't want to recall the very senior, speaker or something who really came with some of those things and said that we have to go through, because this was written by the then Prime Minister, Madam Indira Gandhi, as a thoroughfare, and they go through the street. Then I had to say something which I don't want to repeat. I said, now you have to get from the present Prime Minister, because she is no more with us. Anyway, that those kind of decisions, and I insisted and we stood, and we saw that that doesn't go through. Indo-Israel project was named. One of the Prime Minister, you came from there, from Israel, the what it is. And we are always given. The director was, of course, Professor R.B. Singh. He had gone away to foreign country, was to come say that it was delayed. But he landed during the function, but that whole process was so frightening because they said, see, he's on the top of it. But then we organized that function so well that we really got that things done and really commended that. Science Congress was excellent, section that was mentioned by a show that William. What I'm trying to say here, that the vision document at that stage, which was prepared, I assisted Professor R.B. Singh, then I took over as director. And those documents took time. But I really feel that those documents have become very relevant at that stage and are relevant today. So when we are discussing this program, I have only to say that my only advice is that let us maintain the glorious past, not only maintain but improve the glorious past of IARI, where we had many laurels, achievements, and milestones. And I think its time has come that we have to maintain that. In certain areas we are doing very well, but many other areas which are equally important in IARI system, I think we are also to take a lead to promote and maintain the same pace setting mechanism as we have for one or two other disciplines that we have. And what is more important in that we should have the capacity to prioritize our activities, have the vision to set us to what we have to do the first and what is next. And perhaps we'll be able to spread over the discipline and maintain the glorious past that I said we have. And that is where we find that IARI is considered to be unique in that sense. And finally, I will say the interest of farmers should be on top of that. When we have, farm research to development, at every step we have to see as to what we are doing and what is going to them, how much advantage a farmer is able to take in the doubling farmer income, saving resources, or even optimizing or increasing yield potential becomes very, very important. So I think to the young students who are having, a bright career in IARI, will be moving out of the institution to support agriculture in India and outside. I think my good wishes to them, and hope they will learn something what has been said by speakers and what will be said by Director General and Professor R.B. Singh. I think those things are to be considered so that we are able to really see IARI's glory, IARI's prestige is maintained and improved in the coming past, and that will be a challenge for us. So I wish you all the best on this Foundation Day and congratulate the organizers, particularly the director, who really asked me yesterday to join. And I'm glad that I have been able to join and listen to all of you. I realize that I am still sitting in IARI working with the people there. With these words, I wish you all the best and a very bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. You are always remembered for guiding and building leaderships. Thank you so much for making IRI the IRI, and we have no words of gratitude for that. We all will remain indebted for the monumental contributions made by you all in building this great institution. Thank you very much. And I now request Dr. R.B. Singh, sir, the chairman of the session, to kindly introduce the learned speaker of the Foundation Day, Dr. Trilochan Mahapatra, sir, and to carry out the proceedings. Sir, please.
बाद में आएगा रिमेम्बरेंस को। Is it all right? Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Trilochan Mahapatra, the Director and the Vice Chancellor of the IARI, Dr. A.K. Singh, Guest of Honor, Dr. T.R. Sharma. We have our Padam Shri, Sheikh Pal Singh Ji, other colleagues, former directors of the IARI. Of course, Dr. Gupta is gone, but he was here, as you all know. Dr. S.A. Patil, Dr. Punjab Singh, our Dean Rashmi Agarwal, Tomar Sahab. I hope I did mention about our Honorable Guest of Honor, T.R. Sharma Ji, our very distinguished colleagues in the front line here and all over the hall. We know that I am so delighted you are continuing to be here. Of course, Jana Sahab, R.P., Malhotra Sahab, Ravinder, Man Singh Ji, D.K., and of course, Renu, the First Lady. I'm so delighted each one of you are here. First of all, I must give my heartiest congratulations to IARI and all who have been associated with it on its Foundation Day, a very auspicious occasion for introspection and prospection. And we'll look into the today's, yesterday's, and the future pathways by which we can make IRI what we have been all wishing to make it. Friend, I am truly honored to introduce the speaker, our chief guest at this celebration. He is none other than the most accomplished alumnus of this most prestigious premier institute, Professor Trilochan Mahapatra. As a matter of fact, needs no introduction. He is known to each one of those who are concerned with agriculture anywhere in the world, as a matter of fact. So, introducing him to an audience like this will be probably never be complete, the kind of profoundness that he possesses, and I will feel in my duty, I am sure, in fully describing what he has contributed to. But let me only tell you that coming from a village in Orissa, from the district Cuttack, Professor Mahapatra obtained both his degrees, Masters and PhD, from IARI. And not only that, these degrees, but as you all know that he has been here for 20 years in the advanced teaching programs for molecular biology, genetics, and genomics. And of course, in between, he went to Cuttack as the director. I had the privilege of working with him there also in some capacities. And then he returned to IARI as a director. And finally, of course, as you all know, presently he is our most beloved, most accomplished Director General of the ICR and the Secretary to the Government of India for DARE. As a matter of fact, if you look at the quality of his contributions in terms of science, it's matchless. The kind of new directions that he has provided in the areas of, in the frontier areas of genomics, phenomics, bioprospecting. As a matter of fact, many of the basics which were involved in pioneering the development of first of its kind anywhere at an institution, at the institute here as a part of the IARI, is something unparalleled. He has the distinction of receiving several highly rated honors and awards, and I have been told by him, instructed very strongly, that I should not go into reading all those awards, otherwise it will take one full session if I read out all his outstanding awards. So all I can say, there is hardly anyone who is as decorated in terms of scientifically rewarded, awarded person as he himself. His crown is loaded with very precious jewels of many recognitions. Professor Mahapatra, as you all know, is fellow of the National Academy of Sciences. You all know he is fellow of the, not only fellow, but the president of the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, National Academy of Science of India, and so on, and honoris causa from many universities, and the way he has published. But let me only just a couple of things mention about very recent things. Being the Director General, his thinking, which has been really making a tremendous difference towards the agri-food system, as we talk about. As the Director General of the ICR, under his leadership, the emphasis that we are getting today about the development of biofortified varieties to meet our nutritional security. So today it is not only the food security, which is food and nutritional security, in a very comprehensive sense, is his very first priority at the moment. The way he has organized the digitalized seed portal of doorstep delivery of those seeds which make the difference between production and no production, high production and efficient production, is all his contribution. He also had initiated a mega project on precision agriculture to boost sustainable agriculture. The genome editing that we are also happy to hear about, which we could see it happening on 28th itself, but then the announcement came, as we all are so delighted to see, the editing has emerged as the next generation breeding technology, and the kind of effort Dr. Mahapatra had guided in the initiation of this mega project on genomic editing under the National Agriculture Science Foundation, and also contributed immensely to the historic policy decision of the government of genome editing. This will be a great boon for agriculture industry and farmers. Let me also mention here the new thinking process that he is also trying to see that it filters down to the people who are sitting here and others who are concerned with agricultural development, is his emphasis on biostimulants, which is emerging as a major input, and biostimulant industry is growing at a very fast rate and projected to reach about $20 billion US. He has played a pivotal role in bringing out the guidelines for regulation of biostimulants. Professor Mahapatra
we are so grateful to you that you have liberated science to serve the society by many of your efforts to make it sure that no one comes in between good science and the people who need science to be served by. With these words, may I have the privilege to request you, Professor Mohapatra, to kindly deliver your speech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Professor R.B. Singh, former Director, mentor, guide, philosopher, all rolled in one. Thank you very much for your kind words of introduction, and many things you told which I also never thought that would be described about me, including biostimulant, which I chaired to formulate the guideline. I never thought. So thank you very much. And Professor Punjab Singh, Dr. Patil, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. Sharma, and Dr. Prabhu, my colleagues, Dr. A.K. Singh is gone, Dr. Jana, and several other colleagues on the dais, off the dais, farmer friends, students, all the scientists and other colleagues who are present on this occasion. First of all, heartiest congratulations to IARI and Director IARI in particular for this Foundation Day celebration. In fact, Foundation Day is now being celebrated in all the institutes of ICAR, and similar kind of activities are happening to celebrate our own successes, to disseminate that success among stakeholders as much as possible, to take credit, reach the masses as possible. And you know, this is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which is being celebrated, and in that context, all of us being here on the occasion of Foundation Day, to understand, to get exposed to all those kind of achievements of IRI. So this is happening at all the institutions. So in the process, bringing school children, organizing various competitions involving school children, even college students, and also staff, and recognizing the contributions of staff as it was done, that whether it is technical, supporting and administration, so recognizing their contributions is also important. We are also inviting the stalwarts, the eminent personalities who once were associated with the institution, as it is done today, the past directors and other colleagues who were there at the institution, to interact with them, to learn from them how they feel about and what they think should be done to move forward. So this is has been all has been planned accordingly. I think very well done. And outside you see those displays of student activities, also about the coverage of the institution in the media. This also instruction which has been issued to all the institutes, that they should bring out one publication for every year regarding the coverage in the media for the institution. The National Academy used to bring a publication, National Academy of Agriculture Science used to bring a publication on coverage of agriculture in media. But I don't know whether I haven't seen that, and I think that's discontinued. For every institute it should happen, and Dr. Malhotra is here, DKMA, so that should be action point for us, that we should have a publication for ICAR headquarter, coverage in media for the year, and if we can collect and then put that in particular order. So these are kind of Foundation Day activities which we are now doing, not only for IRI, for all the institutions. Coming back to IRI, IRI is an institution which is not only nationally but globally known, recognized for its contributions, Green Revolutions and subsequent to Green Revolution, all those technologies, varieties that have gone to the field and bringing tremendous changes, in the socio-economy of the country. That's something which is remarkable and unparalleled. Dr. Gupta did mention about Indian Institute of Science, and comparing that probably IRI needs to do more, and certainly any institution, or rather every institution has to do more. If we analyze, and Dr. Sharma did mention about benchmarking, and that's a very important activity. We should really benchmark and then see where we stand and where we have to go, how far we have to go, what should be the timeline that we have to go. So these are all part of our activity we should do. But when we compare with institutions, certainly there will be differences, and there would be certainly plus points very tremendously in favor of certain institutions, kind of technology that has reached the end users, and particularly in our case the smallholder farmers. So that is something which is unparalleled for IRI. So you can't compare this aspect with that of Indian Institute of Science. So putting both the institutions on the a kind of pedestal, and which can be used to compare, and having the yardstick, the parameters to compare, probably one need to really develop a harmonization technology to actually compare institutions of that kind. So in certain aspects where the social impacts are involved, probably IRI would stand taller, much taller than the Indian Institute of Science. So this, but then while I appreciate your clapping, and that's what I mean actually, and when I was thinking about it, but I would request Director IARI, we have been discussing this, that some aspects are worked out, but we need to really do this, the socio-economic assessment of the impacts of IRI technology. We should involve a third party and have this, a very elaborate socio-economic assessment of the impact of IRI technology. And in fact, we keep describing, and I myself keep presenting the basmati and its impacts. In recent AGM of ICR, I did mention. So every fora, in fact, there was Science Leaders Conclave at Hyderabad the very next day of the AGM, and I made a presentation, very brief one, and this aspect was also mentioned. This mic is not really great to hear with regard to the sound. So anyway, so there also I was mentioning about it, about 4 varieties contributing to 95% of the 30,000 crore export. From IARI, and that is something remarkable. And in contrast to that, the ICR budget being about 8,500 crores as the annual budget. So while we are, being questioned on one hand that, the expenditure being made is quite huge, but at the same time, the returns, are not really appropriately, appreciated, I would say. But then, the kind of data and information we have to place and the way we have to place, probably we have to learn. I think we need to really engage some experts for that. The art of doing that, probably as scientists we do not have, and we are very straightforward. We say that, okay, we are earning this much and what you are giving is so less, and someone doesn't really cut ice, much. So, and there are ways and means to really convey that, communicate that, and so that it's far more convincing. So that is probably is very, very important, and I'm sure, IRI with its, background and with its kind of contribution and the kind of experts which are already available in-house, we should be able to do, a very good job, out of this. IRI and its achievement, which has been already spoken, and if I have to remember what are all my experiences here, it's a very long, kind of period of stay and too many points to actually cover. So I don't want to really do that, because it's already more than 1 o'clock, I believe. And you must be hungry. I have no intention of giving a long lecture to you at this point in time. And I thought probably foundation days are, to be celebrated. And if they are to be celebrated, so there has to be an inner urge to celebrate. At times I felt that probably we have imposed this from the top. There is no inner urge coming from the scientists and the staff to celebrate it. And the attendance in the hall probably reflects that. Probably, we have not been able to, I know it's not here, that's everywhere. And probably, our people are to still, get involved and engaged and, imbibe that philosophy and sentiment regarding birthdays. If they hear a children's birthday, they will take half day leave and then, arrange cake and then, and there is a ceremony and all that. But institutional birthdays are not really cared for, and it has little meaning. And school children came and they got their rewards and then they returned, and because they don't bother for other activities of the institution. And at least we at the institution who all are there should bother for that. And how do we inculcate discipline and a sense of belongingness? What bothers me that this sense is declining. And I don't want to really speak much. That's what I said to the director Saab, I'll not really like to speak much. If I start speaking, there will be too many points. But it's not just IARI, but in the whole system. How do we actually bring that sense, bring back that sense of belongingness to the institution? And we have a sense of responsibility, And how do we really do this? Are we really working today? All those who are not here, are they in the field? Are they in the laboratory? Are they really seriously engaged in their work? And or they are just gossiping and having tea elsewhere, or relaxing in their family? What is basically they are doing? And what kind of mindset we have? In a premier institution like IARI, if we do not have that, so where we expect that that kind of sense of belonging should be there? You know, you see the history, this country has gone through a kind of history which no other country would actually, any point in time in future would like to have. And in that kind of history, primarily because of our own mindset, the treachery, the kind of selfishness, and all kinds of human traits, that led us to various kinds of situations in the past. And who was responsible? We. And if we have to take the institutions to greater heights, take the organization to the greater height, we can't do that by putting the blame on somebody else. We have to be part of this change, and we have to bring the change. We have to be a change maker. So, and not just put the blame and then don't do anything and then think that the organization will grow and deliver on its own. That doesn't really happen. So I don't want to really give a sermon and then you say that on Foundation Day, I am giving this, philosophical things. So I do not know, how do we really bring that? Nationalism we talk about, what we do on occasions which are befitting to some of these days where we should celebrate our nation's achievements and all that, you know that. So how do we really inculcate this? I'm really worried for this. Tomorrow's leader will come from you, and so this very, really, okay, we can't be around for all the time, but this is worrisome. That where from people would come. The other day, we thought we'll discuss, something with regard to policy, and mention was made, something was done. We don't have to really go into that. But where are people to consult? How many people are there around to consult on certain things? We don't have many. And if those people vanish from the scene, where do you go? Where do you go? Who can talk about certain things? Where are those specialists who can actually contribute on very specialized issues of policy making or even strategy making, and so on and so forth. So this worries me. An institution like IARI, if we can't find many of this situations, so where we go? So I believe we need to really discuss this and start from here, this institution. How do we nourish someone from very early stage so that he or she grows into that particular space, to occupy that particular space, and so that eminently it delivers on the kind of aspects in a particular space which is even lacking today, and tomorrow it would be a real problem, a serious problem. I'll not go into those details, but anyway, that is briefly my concern. And we will be vanishing quickly from the scene, but unless we create second line and third line, fourth line of kind of down the line leadership, that would be very, very difficult to manage institutions. Of course, leaders spring out of nothing, and sometimes that happens, but they are all rare kind of situations and occasions. But mostly we have to groom, and let's identify areas of strength and where IRI should be grooming and these leaders, and today is the day to groom them so that country benefits. Tomorrow's India needs leaders, and leaders who have solid knowledge of a particular area, a thorough analysis which they can do, and in the process contribute. Chairman sir, time is over for me, but I was supposed to finish at 1 o'clock, and it's already 1:30, and I can keep talking. Let me just introduce few points for all of you to think about. We say that we should have a sustainable food system. When you say and this is the kind of global thinking, that we should have a sustainable food system. And I can talk for 1 hour on this, but I don't want to. But just to introduce, what we have been actually working so far largely is the production aspect of the sustainable food system, largely. But globally what is being discussed is more than production. There are a number of issues related to production still, and we are still trying to grapple with those issues, and we would continue doing that. It's not just sustainable production for sustainable food system. Sustainability of production is important, and we must keep striving for. But what is that which is more important given the kind of surpluses and then surpluses troubling us at times? And as Dr. Gupta said, surpluses in fact provided us some advantages, because of war and because of the situation at the global level which is prevailing, and also because of COVID, a situation was created, and we could feed people, with free food and so on and so forth. So given this, surplus and surplus management and surplus taking advantage of it. So surplus management. So post-production, particularly processing and post-production aspects, and having in-depth research and development. Research for development, Dr. Gupta was talking. Research and development in this particular area, I believe that's a lot more to do. So production and processing, so moving more, keep doing more in that area, and of course distribution and consumption. So these are 4 aspects of sustainable food system. So having market intelligence and studies thereof, and IRI guiding the nation with regard to the international markets. One district, one product is being talked about and then being planned, and how IRI can chip in with regard to market studies and bringing that in a regular routine manner. We have an institution, but IRI can take the leadership given its background, and then provide that with regard to international markets, and the process contributing to more of exports and bigger share in the $5 trillion US dollar economy. So the four important components of sustainable food systems, and going and spreading more into that and having strong footholds by the institution like IARI would be very, very critical for the ICAR. And that's what is actually the expectation. And if you say that production is sustainable, processing, value addition is taken care, and that's also not only related to just creating jobs there, more jobs there in the rural setting, but also very importantly addressing the consumer needs, which is diversifying so much, at the same time taking care of farmers' income. So it's quite a lot of intricate issues, which is very complex, intricate relationship among issues there. I believe that by addressing that aspect and doing more research in the processing and value addition, not just with regard to having some processed products, which are just primary processing taking place and little bit of, value addition taking place, but going much deeper. I have been mentioning this time and again, processing at different levels and, identifying, new molecules, for instance, of value, and building industry based on that. And I believe that, our own people can branch out to entrepreneurship and then, create jobs. We have been talking about that we have students venturing into entrepreneurship and creating jobs, but can we actually encourage our faculty to venture into entrepreneurship and create jobs? And can IRI set that example and copy maybe IIT Delhi or other models which are already existing? And I believe that that's very, very important, and I believe that aspect should be actually examined. And we were discussing about commercialization of technology, and today signing, licensing and all that happened, and exchanges happened, agreements exchanged, and that's very encouraging. IRA have been doing this, but we have, going through the process of developing guidelines for commercialization. As rightly said, a variety which is going to be, exported, and 40% of our export would depend upon that variety, or that variety, in other words, constitute 40% of our basmati export. So what should be the value of that agreement, of licensing agreement? Can we really look at it critically? If a variety is going to be 40% of our 30,000 crores, what should be the value of our agreement? Can we give exclusively to somebody, and and also claim 2%, 5%, whatever, and of that, not just licensing for say 1 lakh or 50,000 or 20,000, and even if we have 10 licensee, doesn't really help much. We can have exclusive licensing. Can we really build this kind of guidelines in the context of government funding shrinking, and ICAR and the institution like IRI can actually be self-sufficient and in fact fund a whole lot of organizations and institutions of ICAR. IRI can fund a whole lot of institutions of ICAR in the process. And can we really think about it? And how far and when we can really do this? Can we have a timeline for that? And so these are some of the aspects I believe would require our deeper engagement and insight is required, and deep dive is required to actually build this kind of things. But anyway, what I was trying to say is that sustainable food systems should require going to other aspects, processing I was talking about, even distribution. And we think that probably we don't have much role to play there, but we can, because we are not the institution to develop just technology, but we have institutions, we have departments which are actually working on various other aspects, and we need to really look at it. How effective our distribution system is, and how perfect we are, how imperfect we are, and and there are so many other things which are associated there in distribution, and how long we can continue the way we are doing, or we need to really innovate there in the distribution system, and what all needs to be really done, and also the consumption. How do we really do or improve upon that aspect? Creating markets. How much we have been able to succeed by in our efforts to create markets nationally and globally. How much efforts by us in the council? I don't think we have much efforts with regard to creation of markets, creating demands. Consumer products, the potato chips. What is there in potato chips in regard to nutrition? And, what is there in the so-called traditional khichdi? And how do you compare? And where potato chips stand with regard to its market share in the consumer market share? And what is the share of this nutritious khichdi? Or for that matter, some other product of our traditional origin. So I believe that there is plenty of opportunity for the institution like IARI, help in the process ICR to understand this aspect of the consumer preference, the mindset of the consumer, the attitude of the consumer, and how do we actually capture the imagination of the consumer, the attention of the consumer in the process. So I believe there is a lot of opportunity for us, scope for us to venture into these aspects of sustainable food systems and holistically contribute to sustainable food systems. Production system, okay, there is a lot more to do, and I can go on that whether it is water footprint, whether it is chemical footprint, whether it is whole lot of things. I can reduce the fossil fuel and then go for more sustainable energy systems that is being used in agriculture or otherwise which is being used by the society at large. Optimizing our land use. How can we do this? Should we really keep expanding the area? Area is declining in certain cases, but when it declines we get worried. That area has declined. Can we cut down 10%, 20% of rice area, 42 million hectares, or 30%, 30 million hectares of wheat area? 20%, 30%, and go on declining. We worry for irrigation. That 50% is rain-fed. You go to Australia, wheat is grown under rain-fed condition. Can we promote rain-fed agriculture? What should be our technology? Why should we worry for irrigation? Can we produce enough from the rain-fed ecosystem? Depend completely on rain. So, in fact, reimagining our production systems. We have been used to putting, fertilizer, and then also now, very strongly telling that no, this natural system will not work and all that. Can I put our minds and innovative minds into this rather, and then innovate there? That how, if we say that we have a far more efficient, we can engineer far more efficient azotobacter which will give us atmospheric nitrogen fixed there and in fact delivered at the root zones. and you satisfy the nitrogen requirements, and you can have sufficient quantity, and you have your own work at IARI also with regard to this, and you have a very efficient azotobacter. So, reducing chemical footprint, to what extent? Why not? All our fruit orchards here is all nature positive horticulture, 100% nature positive horticulture. And you talk of so many things. My farmer friend, the Padma Shri awardee, farmer friend, Said Falji was talking about that, various things he does. And, and you will find, many practitioners, who have been rewarded already. And, a revolution can start from IARI field in that regard, in nature positive agriculture or horticulture. And we can start with horticulture. There could be plenty of opportunity. So I'll not go into those. There are plenty of things, and I have been insisting on solar and all that. So some work is done. Solar freeze, I believe we would be making it a very popular one, and so a lot more to actually do in that regard. But how do we actually shape all these to meet the Sustainable Development Goals? And only 8 years left. How do we position ICR and more so IARI? And obviously if IARI can position and ICR can, actually most of the things which ICR claims are based on IARI actually. So ICR is so dependent on IARI as an institution and all that. With 600, 500 some odd scientists. So how do we really do this? You talk of no poverty, you talk of zero hunger, you talk of good health and well-being, and you talk of education, you talk of climate change, you talk of life below water, talk of life on earth, you talk of anything, gender equality, and then I can keep on telling all these goals, all the 17 of them, institutions, partnerships, this 17th. The 17th is so important, and IARI has been already involved in this 17th one. So each one of them are so crucial, and I'm sure when we link this sustainable food system with the sustainable development goals, you find sustainable food system has linkage and almost coverage, total complete coverage of the sustainable development goals. All of them. That's what when you do a critical analysis, you will find that. And how do we position, by way of very specific actions? You all know that action tracks are all defined in the summit which was held in September, 23rd September, the UN Food System Summit. And and if you look at it, and if you look the sustainable food system and then sustainable development goals, I believe that this is the day and this is the institution where we should have a brainstorming on this, that what should be those specific action points for us in those action tracks and specific targets which have been there for sustainable development goals. How do we fit in, and what exactly we should do and intensify our actions in those areas in this 8 years period, so that we are there. And we claim that in agriculture we have done this elaborately, and all institutions should follow, of the organization ICR would follow. So I'm sure you will have this brainstorming happening, and the NCR farmers, if we can, since we are in Delhi, if we can have, not many farmers are there, but whatever farmers are there, if we can build a database of these farmers and start communicating daily basis and build a two-way communication with them. Build a two-way communication with them, that get their feedback on what you are doing, or reply them with regard to what they need. Have a complete process done in a 6 months time. I believe that would be a great contribution of IRI, that ensure and building thereof the ensure agriculture for meeting the needs of the Delhi community. And suburban agriculture or high-tech agriculture, vertical agriculture, and all that what is required for meeting the requirements of Delhi with regard to agriculture. And that would be a very big contribution. Dr. Gupta did alluded to the facts with rooftop and all those things. So I have taken more time. I didn't want to take more time, and neither I intend to hold you up. So thank you very much for inviting. A lot more to do. Sky is the limit, and certainly the kind of emphasis that has been given on various aspects. IRI, we can't have a few words to describe IRI. It is not an institution, it is a phenomenon. And IRI is a big canvas, and this big canvas is full of stories and beautiful stories and success stories. And it's kind of multiple colors, and anytime you come you will find something new in that canvas, and go back more enriched, go back more learned, and always. And so if you have that mind, if you have those eyes, if you that ear to catch, and certainly you will go back more enriched. So IRI is such a big canvas, and certainly there will be some scope to redraw here and there, and redesign the canvas and make it a bit more meaningful and also more attractive, and so that is possible. So I'm sure with all the kind of artists sitting here, or all those brilliant artists relaxing elsewhere or enjoying their siesta or whatever, so they will be able to redefine, redesign the IRI canvas, and build that beautiful art for future generations. And sustainability of food system speaks about meeting the needs of food and nutrition, not just for ourselves but for the future generation. That's what sustainability means. And certainly we would play our role, and excite all those who are there with us, working with us to contribute. And ICR would greatly benefit, has been benefiting by way of projecting IRI and its contributions as ICR contributions. ICR has been gaining out of IRI strength, and IRI is the biggest strength of ICR. IRI is the biggest strength of ICR, the strongest pillar. If IRI perishes, ICR would completely perish. And despite all other institutions, because that has been the past, I am sure other institutions are coming forward, they are also contributing. It's not that they don't have any role to play, but all that we have been able to project and in the process attract the attention of everyone is largely contributions of IRI. So I'm sure you would continue doing that, and we should be having a more responsible future generation who would have a meaningful and thoughtful approach to development. So that we don't really realize. We think छोटा सा काम कर लिया, तनख्वाह मिल गया, मेरा काम हो गया, और आगे का क्या एक्चुअली मेरा रोल है हम सोचते नहीं है. सो मेरे किसान मित्र यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और आप इधर आए और यहाँ भाग लिया, और आप सबको धन्यवाद देते हैं। और विशेष रूप में डायरेक्टर IRI डॉक्टर AK सिंह साहब, आपने काफ़ी डायनामिज्म के साथ सफलतापूर्वक इस संस्थान के कार्यक्रम आगे ले रहे हैं, और ये bringing lot of visibility, and certainly you would continue doing this. आगे certainly बहुत सारे करने के लिए होते हैं एंड करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन जितना चल रहा है बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है, करते रहिए। और आपको ढेर सारा शुभेच्छा, संस्थान को ढेर सारा शुभेच्छा, बधाई, सारे अच्छे काम के लिए ढेर सारा बधाई, और आगे के लिए हमारे शुभकामना, और सफलता का चरम सोपान आप जरूर पहुंचेंगे, और ये हमारे सदिच्छा है। और आप सबको बधाई देते हुए और धन्यवाद देते हुए यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। जय हिंद।
Thank you very much, sir, for that scintillating talk, and some of the concerns raised by you were very genuine, where we all should sit, think and work upon that. Thank you very much, sir, and I now request Dr. R.B. Singh, sir, chair of the session, for his kind remarks and also for his reminiscences about our time at IARI. Sure.
Thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, such an outstanding message, of course, as expected, which came from his heart. As a matter of fact, so before I proceed further, may I request you to please, to this outstanding presentation, we must be able to give a standing ovation to our outstanding speaker. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. As a matter of fact, the importance that is brought out for celebrating the Foundation Day, to be seen as if you have the sense of belonging to an institution who is giving you the livelihood, nutritional and income security. And the way you could think about yourself to be the change agent, this is the message, to be the change agent to achieve the Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the action points suggested by the World Food Summit a few months ago. All those are based on our determination on this day and the pledge we make today on this occasion. And also to putting IARI at the center stage. As the Director General said, the strength of ICAR is IARI, and as a matter of fact it is vice versa, sir. IARI's strength is ICAR, and the way you have been supporting, I am sure all ICAR congregations will help in the process to allow the anchor, which is IARI, to be further strengthened, to bring the kind of expectations that our people who are still waiting to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. We are far behind the target, and probably if any institution in the world can help in happening this met, is none but IARI. So I want to put the centrality of our future growth on the shoulders of our dear young students and the faculty and the outstanding contributions that you have been making. Are we really in a position, do your heart search,
to meet our 2030 agenda. If we fail today, I think we will be going far behind because the world is changing very fast. However, let us take some strength from outstanding contributions which IARI has made, further strengthen it so that we can move in that direction. I just have to give you a couple of examples. Look at if today's agricultural export is valued at, let's say, at about 50 billion US dollars. Out of this 50 billion US dollars, if you look at the contribution of rice export alone, that comes to be about $18 billion. And if you look at the contribution of the basmati rice developed and grown in the country from here is about 11 billion US dollars. In other words, if you look at the centrality of just giving one example, of promoting in the new world the export-based development of economy, commercialization of agriculture, and so on and so forth, as the Director General mentioned, I think the crux lies here to strengthen a system like IARI. Likewise, the point was made, I am so glad, of course, Raju Barwaleji is gone, but I am sure the message will reach him, that when we are doing this licensing and thinking of bringing the marriage of science social responsibility with the corporate social responsibility, which had not happened actually in the right earnestness, but the peasant also, it's not only the people, the partnership, public-private, but public-private and farmer or peasant partnership. If that has to go together, then the science responsibility, social responsibility must be coupled with the corporate social responsibility, which I think by licensing the varieties which you have exhibited today, that a new way of doing business, a new way of taking agriculture forward has already been indicated and pursued. Likewise, again look at the centrality of IARI, which Dr. Vinod Prabhu must be able to elaborate much better. But then when we look at the contribution of a variety like ST2967, the annual additional contribution to the national income, annual contribution of about 10,000 crores is something unheard of, nowhere in the world. Of course, we are comparing institution to institution. Nowhere in the world, any institution has been able to occupy through its one variety about 40% of its major crop, the total area and the additional income that it had generated. So these are some of the developments which must be able to keep you moving ahead with the kind of contributions that you can make. And this is where I am sure when our young students, when we connect IARI with the students, with the schools, you are already building a new generation who will be charged with the idea what an institution like IARI or association with agriculture in the right earnestness can make a difference. Therefore, the kind of innovations at IARI that must take place with the various details which have been already indicated, I don't have to go through that. I will only say, associate the innovations of the farmers. I was so pleased to look at that in open fields you can grow. See, this is something amazing, the way you have been doing it. So connect with the reality at the ground. So the reality of the ground will enrich the richness of your outstanding labs, and that if these two again get together, I think 1 + 1 will be more than 11. And this, I think, is a new way of looking at it. Therefore, please adopt where you are, who you are, how can you really contribute to it in the process? And therefore, what I call a differentiated, disaggregated approach of evaluation, action and policy option has to be created. Only when all these three are together, you will be able to achieve your outcome and output. And therefore, output, outcome, impact that we are trying to measure as we are comparing is IARI similar to the Indian Institute of Sciences, or IARI can be as good as many of the institutions. I think there has to be a way of proper measuring to manage, which Dr. Mahapatra very clearly mentioned that do we have the way, the right kind of data. If we are interacting with the farmers, we collect those data properly. Let us evaluate those data properly, learn from the evidence, the science-based evidence to move forward. This is not happening. I think IRI can open this new channel to learn, to measure correctly, and if you measure correctly, then you can manage properly. If you don't measure properly, you can't manage properly. So you should be able to know your positives and negatives so that you are able to meet the food and nutritional security which the country needs it today very much by, as mentioned, through the research for development. It is not research and development, and this is where the need assessment, topicality, and the spatial differentiation is absolutely essential. Must be able to see the difference. And this, I think, you have to align yourself. And this is why IRI is aligning itself with the new education policy and is preparing itself to become a world-class university or world grant university or a university which is based on a STEAM that is taking science, technology, engineering and mathematics, putting in between them A, that is agriculture. If agriculture comes in association with those things, with a STEAM, with one world approach, then probably the global university concept, which IRI is contemplating, is building, and what we call MEL, the multidisciplinary educational research university, IRI has prepared the plan. I am sure all concerned, the ICR, the concerned ministries, everyone should be able to support this initiative of IRI so that we have the new IRI which will have all the four components which Dr. Trilochan Mahapatra, you mentioned of the sustainable food systems. All the four components of the sustainable food system. The above approach led by IRI, I am sure, will achieve more from less for more because India in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, will be #1 country in the world in terms of population. We shall be exceeding over the China, and by the year 2050, if we are going to be 1.7, 1.8 billion, will be about 400 million extra people in India than in China. So keeping what is today, what will happen today, what is happening tomorrow, our action plans and options have to be kept in mind of today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. The entire concept has to be visualized. And who else can do it better than IARI with the socio-economic school, your division of economics, with your divisions of the various social sciences, all kinds of new developments we are contemplating. If we all get together, then the science, technology and innovations will be oriented towards persons, towards the planet, towards the prosperity and income that we are talking about, which our Prime Minister mentions that can we have the Prime Minister Gati Shakti towards making India during this Amrit Kal to meet the targets of 5 trillion economy or
doubling the farmer's income. We have to be absolutely scientific in our analysis in judging the various steps. If we go by that, we can achieve it. Finally, I will only like to say that this Foundation Day has really given us the opportunity to take a place, to really make a difference and put IARI, take a place to put IARI as one of the top universities in the world. Let us pray and hope that this will happen. Mr. Director, with your wonderful, your great, well thought, your intensive, outstanding leadership, your colleagues, the students, dear scientists, each one of you, the way you are dedicated, I have no doubt, with the little change in thinking, what is happening at other places by which they are scoring and they are being put in the top 100 universities of the world, that is not happening at IARI, can be done here and should be done here, must be done here. Let us take this as a place today on this Foundation Day, and I am sure under your able guidance, Mr. Director, we would be able to achieve it. Again I say, each one of us, whether old or young, retired or active, we are committed to this cause. Nothing is more dearer to us than IARI. Thank you very much. We love you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm and affectionate words. And sir, the more we listen to you, yet more we want to listen from you. Thank you very much. And in the end, I request Dr. Rashmi Agrawal, ma'am, Honorable Dean and Joint Director Education, to propose a vote of thanks as successful completion of this function. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Kapila. Most respected Padam Bhushan, Professor R.B. Singh, former Director IARI and Chairman of today's function. Our respected Dr. Tirlochan Mahapatra ji, Secretary Dear and Director General ICR, who is the chief guest of today's function. Dr. H.S. Gupta, former Director IARI, who was here with us for some time. Dr. Punjab Singh, former Director IARI, and Dr. S.A. Patil, former Director IARI, who joined online. On the dais, we have our Honorable Director, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. B.S. Tomar, Joint Director Extension. Off the dais, we have distinguished guests today, Mrs. Renu Singh, Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairperson, PPV FRA, Dr. J.K. Jana, Director General Fisheries, Dr. D.K. Yadava, ADG Seeds, Dr. S.K. Malhotra, Director DKMA, and other distinguished guests, invitees, Project Director, Dr. Ban Singh, Dr. Ravinder Kaur, heads of the division, professors, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen, and most important awardees and our farmer friends. So in fact, it's a very happy and important occasion that we have gathered today to celebrate our Foundation Day celebrations in the morning half. In fact, all of us know that Dr. Mahapatra has been the initiator of this Foundation Day celebration in 2016. By celebrating this Foundation Day, we pay tributes to those who created forward-looking academic environment at this institute, and we also taking pledge today that we will take it forward. It is my pleasure and honor to propose a formal words of thanks on this auspicious occasion. On behalf of Director, faculty, staff, students, and on my personal behalf, we would like to pay our gratefulness to Dr. Tirlochan Mahapatra ji for kindly accepting our invitation to be the chief guest and deliver the Foundation Day lecture. We place on record our heartfelt greetings and thankfulness to Dr. Tirlochan Mahapatra for very inspiring words, bringing about many important issues, particularly on the sustainable food system, production system, and how holistically we can contribute together. Sir, we are so thankful to you, sir, for highlighting many of the issues. We are highly grateful to Chairperson of this function, Professor R.B. Singh, former Director IARI, and also former President NAS, who has been very kind enough to come and grace the occasion. Sir, we feel honored and always inspired with your benign and affectionate presence and also inspiring words. We also are so grateful to you, sir, for sharing your views and also sharing your views and asking all of us to take pledge to take IRI in much higher positions, and globally we have to achieve much more. I wish to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. H.S. Gupta, former Director IRI, who was here with us for his gracious presence, and on this occasion he also highlighted some of the points and also brought out some of the areas in the research and also how we can become global, competing with other global universities. And with our inherent potential, how we can utilize our inherent potential to increase our efficiencies. We also wish to convey our gratitude and sincere thanks to other former directors of IRI, Dr. S.A. Patil and Dr. Punjab Singh, who joined this important function online and gave their remarks and reminiscences and many ideas how the past glory of IRI can be maintained, and also we can do much more to groom it further. We are also thankful to Dr. T.R. Sharma, our Deputy Director General Crop Sciences ICR, for very kindly agreeing to be the guest of honor of this important function, and he spared his valuable time out of very busy schedule. We feel honored and inspired with your, sir, benign presence and very graceful ideas which you gave and how we can compete with many of other institutes like Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. We are also highly thankful to some of other distinguished guests who joined online. I could see Dr. J.P. Sharma, Vice Chancellor SCOS Jammu, and Dr. K.C. Bansal, Secretary NAS also, who had joined online. My thanks are also due to Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairperson PPVFRA, all DDGs, all ADGs and other officials who joined this function by their physical presence in this auditorium. I record my sincere thanks to Dr. A.K. Singh, Director and Vice Chancellor IRI, for always guiding us, and he is a guiding light behind organization of this particular important function. I also extend my sincere thanks to Madam Renu Singh for all her cooperation and guidance, and also in the evening we will be seeing a very scintillating cultural eve, and which is all managed by Madam Renu Singh and Madam Mahapatra. I also thank all the project director, all the heads, professors, faculty, students and all the awardees. School children have already left after they have taken their awards, but farmers are still with us. So I am so thankful to all the farmers, and particularly Shetpalji and other Mr. Chandra, who joined us with us, and they shared their views on this platform. I also extend my sincere thanks to my colleagues, Dr. C. Bharadwaj and his team, including Dr. Atul Kumar, Dr. M.K. Verma, Dr. G.P. Mishra, Dr. Sachin Suroshe, Dr. Achelal Yadav, Dr. Namita, Dr. Sapna, and Dr. Karuna Dikshit for organizing all the events like quiz, speech and painting competitions, and also all the judging committee chairpersons and their members. I would also like to thank Dr. Pramila Krishnan and her team, Dr. R.N. Pantaria and his team for coordinating all other activities, invitations and release of publications. I would also like to place on record Dr. Manoj Khanna and Dr. Markande Singh for arranging floral decoration in this auditorium, Dr. B.S. Tomar and Dr. J.P.S. Dabas for coordination with the farmers, Dr. Anil Srohi for arranging all the other mementos and other organizing this function very well. Dr. Barman and Dr. A.K. Mishra's contribution is momentous for arranging the live streaming. Dr. Ritu Jain, Media Cell, and also AKMU for webcasting. Dr. Kapila Shekhawat for Manch Sanchalan, and all the other staff members of ENP section, including WO Satyendraji, ME unit, for all other various activities associated with today's Foundation Day lecture. I would also place on record my special thanks to Dr. K. Manjaiya, Associate Dean, for all kinds of help in organizing this important function. So finally, my sincere thanks to all of you who are there in this hall, and for such a long period you all got connected with us, and with all your blessings, I am sure, and with the guiding force of all our seniors, we will take IRA at a global level. Thank you, each one of you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And with that, we may be allowed to conclude the program. Thank you all for your gracious presence. Have a great day. Namaskar.
डीजी सर वाला वहाँ पे देखना है एक बार।
क्यों?